airborne illnesses right now.
Whoa.
It's the one where you can't eat red meat or any red meat products.
That's the Texas,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
One more.
yeah.
Yeah, she recently
The
contracted that.
star tick is the thing that gives that to you, isn't it? Texas.
So she's
I just
off.
heard it last week on NPR, but it's like the Texas
Lone Star tick,
Lone Star Tech. Thank you.
Texas.
So one of the many ticks on Long Island got her. And
Terrible.
You know,
Like a
the-
lifelong condition.
supposedly it fades over time.
It's
I'm
long.
not sure if it ever goes away,
It's chronic.
but it lasts a long time.
Yeah.
But I think it gets not as bad.
It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, Lyme is chronic, but it's not as bad for many people, so.
Very tough.
Our forester in my office, apparently he gets Lyme disease like every single year.
What the heck?
He's a forester, so it's like he's just out getting ticks all
You know,
over
you
him.
can wear permethrin on your clothing.
Oh, he does.
Wow.
I should start doing that. I've had it twice.
Wow.
It's tough.
I've gotten bites from deer tick, but I've taken the prophylactic antibiotics, so I've never gotten sick.
Both times I didn't find a tick on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have the bullseye?
So the first time I didn't, I got these like patches of rashes all over my body, and it was very confusing. It took me a long time to figure out what it was. The second time I got the bullseye, and I caught the bullseye really early, and went to Midstate, and they were like, "No, it's just a bug bite." And I was like,
Well, it is a bug bite, but
"Yeah." They're like, "If it was a tick, you would have seen the tick." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure." And then I went back 2 days later because it had gotten bigger, and they were still like, "Yeah, we don't think so." And then I went through the weekend.
That's funny. It really must depend on who you see, because every
I went
time
back
I've gone,
in on Monday, and that time it had grown to this size.
and they're like,
And I lifted up my shirt, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you look like that poster."
Well, you should have come in 6 days
Not
ago.
long.
Yeah, It took me 3 trips.
It's funny.
to
I've
find
That's
never
crazy.
had that much trouble.
And it's like
That
the,
I believe
the,
is from the select board, Graham. That I believe is from
the antibiotics are not they're not that big a deal. Like
Yeah.
just
No,
put
I
me
mean
on them. Like
the one, yeah,
yes.
they're like not the most disruptive antibiotics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one's the agenda right there.
But if you want to be confused with the select board agenda, that could be fun.
That's true. Did you notice we've got to upgrade metal covers?
Oh, we don't have the dying foam ones
Yeah.
anymore.
oh, look at that.
Wow.
These can resist,
Fancy.
I'm sure, people moving them up and down much
Having
better.
them inside their mouth and
I'm sure that happens.
We'll see if they work with the wind.
Yeah.
Are you getting that reading?
I think Matt's saying he's full of hot air.
That's what they're there for, is
Right.
the extra air
The
exertion.
pea pop.
The pop filter.
Need like one of those big screens in front of it, I suppose.
No, this takes the terminology "dead mouse" away, though. So that's like
What? I've never heard of this.
yeah. I'm sorry, isn't it called a dead mouse in audio video world?
Talking about the audio with the lucky cover,
Yeah.
dead cat.
The cat.
Hear that.
Wow. Wow.
That would be a
You
life hack.
never miss an opportunity, do you?
Very
A little soundboard.
For what?
esoteric. For what?
I don't really.
How do you label my antics?
Molly, can I get some help here?
Let me show you.
I don't want to say it on video. What I would label
recording
John's
yet?
antics as.
Yes, we are.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Video's up, and here we go.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Feel attacked.
tired from being outside for a lot of the day working, and when I got home I was like, I have to look professional. I don't know. I'm gonna put a t-shirt on.
I mean, I almost came in fluorescent orange, like it close.
All so close.
Yeah, so close.
Good for you
Nope,
for putting
we
on
have a
the
few
nice
minutes.
shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
The day will come.
Yeah, when
I
it's
just
just
don't have time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I work here and I'm wearing a t-shirt, so.
It's more the shorts. I try to always wear pants, but it's too hot.
Give it a couple years.
Yeah. If they got us different tables,
How are you?
You look like you just came from Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's great. We were just talking about clothes. Sorry to
Well,
immediately.
tonight is one night where I won't feel bad about having the bench
The fe-
directly
yeah.
underneath me.
Yeah.
No doubt.
For now.
But, I'm used to town meetings where everybody is in suit and tie, so it's about as casual as they can get.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not wearing suits and ties.
I think most New Hampshire town meetings do not. City councils do sometimes.
Yep, we'll see more common.
For sure.
Yeah, or Senate, House of Reps, those kinds of
For
folks.
sure. But even like Salem,
The only people that
Nashua,
wear
you'd probably
ties
see more of a
nowadays are the
coat and tie.
baggers at Market
Market
Basket.
basket, yeah. The teens.
Yeah, like the Salem
Sure.
planner was wearing like a sport coat.
Yeah.
That's true, they
Yeah.
don't.
And Nashua.
Lawyers,
is the same
bankers.
way.
Doctors
Manchester,
don't anymore.
All right.
if you're a director or a, you know.
We do have a set of
something like that,
keys
you wear-
here, mystery keys, if anyone.
Oh, I thought those were yours.
Nope, they were here when I arrived.
Interesting.
Alright.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. It's 6:30. Roll call of members. Me, Molly McCann, I'm here. John Christ,
Present.
Matt Yetton.
Present.
Phil Lamoureux is not present, and we're going to seat Select Board Alternate Representative Zach Tyrell. Are you here?
I am present.
Thank you. Neil McIver, has anyone heard, have you heard from Neil? Okay. Neil, he's not here. Tom Newcomb.
Here?
Bill Bolton.
You let me know that he would not be able to make it tonight.
Okay. And Bradford Puffer is excused, and Todd Chappell. Hi.
Hey, present.
You just made it. Awesome. So we have 1, 2, 3.
I think we didn't see Todd.
Yeah, I will seat Todd. Thank you. You're voting tonight, Todd. Okay. So agenda item number 3, a review of minutes from our June 18th planning board meeting. I found no problems myself.
Nor did I. I move to approve the minutes as written.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
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 Not me.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
Me
Okay.
as well.
2 abstentions, 4 ayes. Okay. Agenda item number 5, communications received by the board.
Do have a couple of communications. The primary communication is appearing a little bit later in the packet, and that has to do with the potential HUD, Housing and Community Development Plan, and possible CDBG project, which the Select Board will be looking at. There is one other brief communication, which comes from Stone Bluff Properties. They are the applicant for the commercial storage facility. They had a alteration of terrain permit submitted to NHDES. NHDES sent them a request for more information, and Stone Bluff Properties has responded to that request for more information. So it's still pending state review, but they have received and responded to that request.
And the communication regarding the first communication you mentioned, can you say that again?
Yeah, that's basically a summary of all of the communications that relate to the HUD CDBG potential application that the Select Board will be looking at,
Okay.
as well as the HUD Housing and Community Development Plan, which is a item required for towns to apply for that funding. And I can either explain that now or talk about it a little bit more later on the agenda. We do have an agenda item for it.
Is Barrett Planning here?
Unfortunately, she has run into a little bit of traffic issues,
Okay.
so she'll be here as soon as she can, but not quite yet.
All right, let's talk about the HUD Community Development Plan once we get there.
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay. So, agenda item 6, reports from committees. Any reports?
I can say that LRPC had its annual meeting, and their guest speaker was Plan New Hampshire,
No?
talking about the 30-year anniversary of the charrette program.
Hmm.
And we were their most recent charrette, and they mentioned us, and as they did several other charrettes as well. And otherwise, they had, standard like elections and meal and blah blah blah.
Okay.
And at least the commissioners and executive board are off for the summer. That the employees, of course, are not.
Economic Development Committee, we did not meet in June. We will be meeting this coming Monday, so not much to report at the moment.
Couple comments in the CIP committee. Just I'd reached out to Ann and to Joseph about trying to get things, starting to get that firmed up, and because I think we need to look at what is going to be the makeup of the committee, so that we can get it appointed, because really probably by September or so, we're going to need to get it in place. So my hope is that over the next month that we're able to come up with kind of a makeup of the committee, also start to advertise for looking for citizen volunteers for it, so that by, say, whether it be our August work session or our August business meeting, that we can vote to form a committee.
Great.
Great.
Yeah, getting the word out to people is always, I think, a challenge, so the sooner the better, maybe. All right.
Super quick update from the select board. We
Thank you.
have town manager candidates who will be here on the 14th and the 16th, and we have public presentations and meet and greets at Pease Library at 5 p.m. So we encourage planning board members in particular, but the community at large to attend and participate in that wherever possible.
And that's on both those days at 5 p.m.
Yeah, 5 p.m. on both days, on the 14th and the 16th. That's a Tuesday and Thursday.
And that gives us time to get to this meeting as well.
Yes, exactly. We planned that both to put it there and not interfere with this space, and to make sure that there was time. Yeah.
Great, big deal. Town manager.
Yeah, we're excited. 2 good candidates.
That's great.
Is it one candidate each night?
Yeah, 1 candidate each
Yep.
of those two nights.
Do one, and that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and those will be the 2, and hopefully we'll get a strong showing from one of them and extend an offer after that.
Excellent.
Do you take any feedback from the public?
We do, so we'll have comment cards for the public, as well as kind of moderate questions. So if anybody has questions, they can provide them to me, at that meeting or in advance. So that starts with a presentation. They'll walk through like a 20-minute presentation, and then we'll have like 40-ish minutes for any open Q&A.
Okay, great. That's a nice long period of time, 40 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes these things go quick, and
Yeah.
sometimes, especially if we get a lot of people who show
Yeah.
up.
Sure,
That can be short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. It's good to have that much time. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So, agenda item number 7, new business. So, since Judy Barrett is not here right now, I believe we should skip ahead to talking about an update on the HUD Housing and Community Development Plan and the possible CDBG project. What's CDBG stand for again? Community
Development Block Grant.
Block Grant, thank you.
Yeah, so that is an update that we wanted to bring to the board. Ultimately, this is really a select board item, but we did feel that it would be good to bring this to the planning board's attention and ask for any feedback, because this draft HCD plan, which I'll get into in a second, is something that the select board needs to adopt in order for the town to proceed with any community development block grant application. It's one of the checklist items. So, stepping back a little bit, the proposed project here, well, I guess I'll step back even further. So, HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, has a program called Community Development Block Grant, through which they provide grants to municipalities, counties, units of local government, for a variety of projects, and that includes housing, community development. Some limited infrastructure projects can also qualify. They have pretty rigorous criteria. In most towns do not get this fund by default. It is a block grant, so it's allocated through a formula. There's what's called entitlement communities that every year get a set amount of community development block grant funding to do with what they want, as long as it complies with the rules of the program. For all the other towns, we're kind of covered under the state's allocation. So the state has a certain allocation that it's responsible for dispersing out amongst the various municipalities who don't automatically get this money from HUD. So we are in that category. Towns like that apply to the Community Development Finance Authority of the state of New Hampshire for a chunk of the state's allocation of these funds. So it's a little bit of a nuanced process. Unlike most other grant programs coming out of HUD, only a unit of local government can apply for this. It's not possible for a nonprofit or other private entity to apply for funds through the Community Development Block Grant Program. The request has been made to the town and the select board to authorize the town to apply for some community development block grant and then sub-grant that out to a individual who has a project in town, or at least a firm. So giving a little bit of context, that company, Elm Grove Companies, is a real estate, multifamily development and property management firm that operates lots of properties around New Hampshire. They're looking to buy the Plymouth Apartments complex off of Fairgrounds Road and Morgan Drive. They would like to rehabilitate those units, and so they have asked the town to apply for community development block grant funds to sub-grant to Elm Grove so that Elm Grove can use those to rehabilitate those 66 existing apartments on Morgan Drive. The long story short is that in order to do so, the town would have to meet all of the requirements of receiving CDBG funds, even though Elm Grove would really do the project and LRPC would be the grant administrator. The town would ultimately be the recipient. They would just be a sub-recipient. So the town does have to have a certain number of policies and procedures in place. The select board, I think, talked about this at their last meeting and scheduled a public hearing on this for their next meeting, which is July 13th. So they are holding that public hearing, and Lakes Region Planning Commission and Elm Grove will be there. And ultimately, that's when the select board would need to decide whether or not to submit this application, basically on behalf of Elm Grove. In order to meet all of the checklist items for CDBG funds, the town needs to have a few different policies and procedures in place, the most relevant of which is a housing and community development plan. This is very different from a housing master plan, from a master plan. This is really a checklist item that HUD requires. They don't ask us to really do anything in terms of public engagement. They don't ask for most of the things we would normally see in a master plan. It just needs to have the select board adopted upon a public hearing. So we've had these over the years. The town has had probably 6 or so housing and community development plans. They just get updated every time we submit a CDBG grant application on behalf of someone. This has happened probably about 6 times over the last 25 or 30 years. So what we've done at the request of LRPC is basically take that previous plan, the last one was 2015 or 2011, and update it by inserting the items from the most recent master plan. Basically, this is supposed to be an encapsulation of the town's goals, and the way that a town would typically check that box is taking HUD's format and plugging in whatever's in its most recently adopted master plan. So we've pulled a few. Avery's done a lot of the work on this too, pulling things from our existing master plan, putting it into HUD's format, so we can meet that checklist requirement. But we did want to share that with the board in case anybody had any thoughts. The select board ultimately will need to adopt it upon a public hearing, so they could make changes to it at that time. But it's just one thing that if they decide to go forward with this application at that time, this policy would need to be in place. So hopefully that helps to kind of summarize the situation, but let me know if anyone has questions. And in particular, a lot of this information is going to be really discussed, I think, in the most detail at that July 13th hearing that the select board is holding.
Joseph, in the doc that you provided as part of the handout, there's a typo where it says Town of Hooksett. I think was probably just a find and replace miss.
Yeah, that was actually, this was just a document that Elm Grove wrote summarizing the project, but I agree, I did notice that as well, and they did clarify that they are also doing a project like this with Hooksett, so they were copying, pasting, essentially the
This
same
is
thing.
the document that Avery sent out.
This is not, this is the project
Project
narrative that was
narrative
in the
that's in the
packet.
planning board packet.
Oh, okay.
So did Elm Grove write the
That's fine.
development plan for us and supply
They,
that to us?
so, what we, the Housing and Community Development Plan, LRPC provided us, who've been hired by Elm Grove to administer the project, provided us with a template of what we need to plug our information into. We then took everything that was in the most recent Housing and Community Development Plan from 2011, and we looked through where we have adopted new goals since then in the most recent 2018 master plan. So we dropped off where that 2011 Housing and Community Development Plan was referencing the prior master plan and just replaced it with some goals from the 2018 master plan. So they provided us with the format. We provided essentially plugging in the elements that relate to Plymouth's most recent master plan, just following the template of what the town's done in the past for this.
Does it get back sent to them? Does it get sent back to them for their review, or do we submit as that?
So, yeah, they have, well, they will certainly take a look at it before the meeting, the public hearing. We did run it by, send it back to Lakes Region Planning Commission, and they've given their thumbs up. They say they believe it works, it meets all the applicable requirements. They had one minor typo where there was like a sentence that ended awkwardly. But other than that, they said it's good to go from their perspective.
All right.
And I will just note that the LRPC had provided all of the national goals and the state goals section, so that wasn't written in office. What we did was Joseph took our our updated town intro, plugged that in, and then I went through the 2018 master plan and picked some things that were in there that still seem to align with the way that the planning board has been going, and left some things out that are either no longer true with our ordinances or aren't really a focus anymore. But if there's anything you guys think should be included that isn't, or vice versa, like, all ears.
Okay, that's good to know. So they wrote the federal and state part.
Yes.
We wrote the municipality town part.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I just had a question on the affordability of the units, and it looks like in the narrative provided, it says that units 1 through 36 have voucher restrictions that convert to market rate upon vacancy. So does that mean that vacancy from when it was originally built? Or so are those units because of turnover? Do we have 36 units that are at market rate and 30 units that are below market rate? Is that?
So there are, I don't know the
Accurate.
exact breakdown, but there are some units in the project that my understanding is are now market rate. I don't know the exact breakdown, but Elm Grove did say that there were a few units in the project that have now become market rate. They'll be doing, what they're trying to do right now is, right now this is under a USDA rural development financing and grant, so it has to meet the USDA affordability requirements. They're proposing to use a combination of community development block grant and low-income housing tax credit to rehabilitate it. So they will essentially replace the affordability requirements that it had before with those slightly different affordability requirements for CDBG and LIHTC, which are, my understanding though is that it'll completely replace the previous requirements with the new ones.
So I guess where I'm going with it is by, I think, trying to get some type of incentive to them to, if they're gonna get this grant funding, because I think it's excellent that the property get updated and we get some investment in it. But will there be any increase in affordability of the units as a result of it?
My understanding is that they're proposing to do they're proposing to do income averaging across the property. So they are, and again, ultimately, they have kind of written up their pro forma of what those exactly will be. They're really asking the town for the funding, but I agree that if the town is funding it, it's important to understand these issues. And I think there will be a so the requirement for LIHTC and for CDBG is that the income average across the whole project is affordable to 60% area median income. So there may be some units that are priced at a higher point than that, and there
Some
may be
lower,
some that
yeah.
are lower. So they've said they expect to have a range of some that may go below 60% and some that may go above, in order to meet that income averaging at 60.
And it looks, just based upon their narrative, it looks like that would be an improvement over the existing conditions.
Yeah, it seems like that is a, yeah, I mean, it's definitely would be a more consistent across the whole property affordability requirement, as opposed to these kind of different ones for the different parts of the project.
And would that be basically, their time limit where that expires? Would it expire upon vacating or turnover of units, or is it a time frame, or is it in perpetuity? Do you have any idea?
There is a time frame on it, and I do not recall. Oh, here it is. Wait, no, that's the existing. I don't know, and I think perhaps this is something that we would want to ask Elm Grove. It would be good to ask Elm Grove at the hearing, what is the end goal as far as how long will these affordability requirements last? Because ultimately, they will need to meet those, and they're asking, and it's just, it's a little bit strange, but they're asking for actually the town to be the recipient of this grant, and then to give Elm Grove a forgivable loan. So that would be kind of the assurance that they're compliant through that period of the requirement, in that if they were to default, for example, on complying with some
Not meeting the
requirement,
requirements.
they would not be eligible for the full loan to be forgiven. That's my understanding of what they're proposing. They did pull together that request. Basically, the full sort of structure is something that Elm Grove has. They basically approached the town and said, we would like this structure, and they say they've done this with other towns, and that's kind of my understanding of what that assurance is for that project period, is that the fact that it's a forgivable loan.
And then one other thing is, if the town does apply for this grant, does it kind of lock us out of potential future grants? Only because, just throwing it out there, are there other potential projects in town that might be alternative recipients for the grant that would be good, better useful for the
Yeah.
town? And if we go this route, does this lock us out of being able to, say, 1 to 2 years down the road, does it create problems if we have someone else that wants to come in with a new project?
My understanding is that certainly for this round, we would only be able to apply for this amount, because they're asking for the limit. I don't believe that there's a multi-year maximum that
Right.
towns are eligible for. Elm Grove is the only one who've approached the town with a formal project, but it's true that if someone else were to, the town would have to consider that, and then also consider the, if there's any capacity, if this is taking up additional capacity. Elm Grove have represented that Lakes Region Planning Commission being paid out of the grant and administered by, that LRPC will be administering the grant, so they represent that there will be little to no burden on the town for administering this, and so that is, the capacity shouldn't be a limiting factor in the future if that's how this is proposed to be structured with an outside entity doing the administration.
Thank you.
But I think that is important to think about.
LRPC is trying to get into the business of doing more of these.
They're trying to get into the business of doing mortgages?
More of these.
Oh, more of these. Okay, I was like,
In mortgages.
whoa.
It was like a gap in the state that was not being filled very well, and trying to step into that to build up their own kind of resources as well as provide a service.
Yeah, I think exactly, they provide the service and it also gives them some revenue.
And I think they're even providing it like outside of their region.
I'm sorry, out of the 66 units, do we know how many are market rate right now?
They have not provided a list that I've seen that specifically outlines it. So I don't know. They have stated that there are some units that are market rate, but I'm not sure how many or what that breakdown is.
I'd be curious to see how many market, out of the 66, how many are market rate? Because their known business model is taking market rate units off the market and moving them to affordable units. So I'm curious what the market rate number is, and what that stems from is we're creating a housing avenue potentially for another segment of the population, but it's also fully known that we are displacing another segment as well. That they have said we fully buy these places, do these projects, we remove the market rates and bring them to affordable housing. I'm just curious, like, and I don't know if like, hey, if the numbers are, there's 2 market rate units in there, or there's, 45% of them are market rate. Because that's also going to create an issue.
Are people gonna be able to, gonna be able to retain their apartment, basically?
When the renovation time comes, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's creating housing somewhere else.
They're taking it away.
But potentially something they've never mentioned in this document, but they have case studies for Elm Grove. They publish their own case studies, and they don't hide it whatsoever. Is that we take market housing off the market and bring it to affordable housing through the LITCs, low income housing tax credits. Because sure.
Judy, you wanna say something? Yeah. Does anyone mind if Judy speaks?
Please step up to the microphone. Oh, sorry.
Listen to Max. Please step up to the microphone, Judy.
I don't believe they can force the market rate tenants to leave unless they want to pay relocation assistance. Because the project will be subject to the Federal Uniform Relocation Act if there's CDBG funds in it. Just
Sure.
tell
But
them.
their goal, published
Sure,
everywhere across their website, everywhere across New Hampshire Affordable Housing,
sure.
everywhere is published. We take market housing away from the town and we make affordable housing. So I'm not saying they're kicking people out.
Okay.
I'm not saying that people are going to lose.
It's just
their
that as
housing.
people leave,
At the,
the unit
right,
becomes.
exactly.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like
usually
so,
what happens.
and that's what I'm thinking is like if there is someone there that's market housing, when they do leave, where are they going to go?
We build more housing.
Yeah.
No, but sure. I mean, yes, they can. But no one's interested in building market rate housing in the state. And New Hampshire Housing Financing has made that clear. The company you work for has made that clear. Lakes Region Planning Commission has made that clear. No one is talking. Who do you work for? New Hampshire Cooperative Extension, right?
Yeah.
Right. So don't sit here and pretend that they've made it clear that they want more market housing. No one in this in this state is building market housing. So like we're going down this derivative, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all. I'm just saying, is this 2 units we're talking about, or is this 50%? That now we're like, holy smokes, we fulfilled the portion that is very helpful, but now there's potentially another thing that's like, holy cow, like how is this going to work? And that's my only concern.
Just to clarify, most of these groups are not against market rate housing. They are in favor of a rich mix of housing. I mean, I think that's kind of beside the point right now, but.
Sure.
So, I mean, there's going to be the public hearing, and I think Elm Grove will be there. So if people have questions that you want to ask sort of directly to Elm
Can we
Grove.
submit that to him? Because I don't want to run around at the public meeting. I want a definitive answer. How many market rate units are in that 66 unit complex?
Yeah,
And
I'm
please,
sure it's
if
a-
you don't mind submitting, if the chair is fine with that, please submit that question in advance. So there's not so we have a definitive answer at the next time this is spoken about.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure we can-
I'm fine with asking them to include those kinds of numbers
Thank you.
in this application, yeah.
To be Matt, I'm just trying to understand, I understand your concern about losing market rate, or I believe your concern is that by losing market rate units, that people that can't qualify for the affordable units are gonna get pushed out, is that your concern?
Or they're not gonna be able to find housing.
Not on the company's terms, right? Like, because there's that due diligence where whether it's a renovation, you know, I'm not trying to make any like scare tactic, if you will, where this project goes through and Elm Grove is going to come in and be like, get out. Like, I'm not trying to say that at all. But like, when the time does come where it's like, and I don't know how it works, but if it's like your lease is up, or hey, you've been chosen, you're 7th in line for your place to be renovated at that time, these are going to be your options. My concern is that, say someone in that unit doesn't qualify for the new requirements, but they're also not in the financial position in their life to do something else. It's like, well, and that's why I'm wondering, and the awful thing that I'm about to say is like, is it 2 or is it 20? And it's sad to say, okay, if it's 2, we can potentially see the better in this overall. Because this is
Enough
good.
Units in town, for 2, there's probably enough other units in town for those people, you know, even though there's relocation
Yes.
costs, et cetera.
Right.
there's
Or if it was
other-
like 20,
that-
where it's like, holy cow, like, where are these people gonna go?
I, for one, would love to see more affordable housing in this community. And I think it's on us to do our due diligence to facilitate the creation of even more housing. And quite a bit, I would say, more housing. And there's room for all of us.
Yeah, and I think these renovation, like, these upgrade, like, these are great upgrades. Like, this would be a great improvement to the community. I don't want to speak against those. I'm just worried about the displacement of people or families that can't qualify, but might still be broke. You know, it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm too broke to qualify, but I'm not, I'm
in that
not
middle
broke
range.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that is part of this longer term question about the mix of housing, because we certainly don't want people to suddenly have higher income and then not be able to keep their apartment. So we need to have places where people can go, people can graduate to, if you will. And I think that is actually a very good segue into the housing master plan chapter. Does anyone else have any other kind of feedback that they want to give about this HUD application? Go ahead, Judy.
Can't help myself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
One thing to bear in mind, Matt, is that although there may be market rate units there, the tenants may in fact be eligible. So
What do you mean by that?
because they may be income eligible for affordable housing, even though they're in a unit that's not income restricted. So until the nonprofit
okay.
actually does that assessment, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, they can answer the question now, how many market rate units are there?
Sure.
But they may not know how many people who are there are in a market rate unit who would be eligible to stay because they are income eligible.
And I think
It's another trajectory.
that makes sense, and I think what I feel has been a struggle to those answers in the past is HIPAA regulations. That they can't, well, I don't know, because they can't speak to like specific people.
Well,
which I do not want.
They will,
by
for
any
their own
means.
compliance, so let me just tell you that low-income housing tax credit is a highly regulated program. So when they are ready to take over this project and start income qualifying people, they're going to have to determine whether people are going to be income eligible for an affordable unit. They have to do that. They're very strictly regulated. So if there's somebody there who's income eligible, but happens to be in a market rate unit, they probably get to stay. But you're not going to know that. That's up to the nonprofit to, because they're the ones who are on the hook for compliance.
Right.
But I will just say this. You are on the hook for CDBG compliance. And that was my second job in this business, was running the state CDBG program in Massachusetts. So it's a program that's near and dear to me. Just be aware that unlike low-income housing tax credits, which is entirely on the developer, if you are signatory to a CDBG grant, you're actually on the hook for the compliance. So just ultimately, just be aware of that. It's a great program, but And just to be clear, the income limits for CDBG are 80% of area median income. So it becomes a good tool to use with low-income housing tax credits if you're trying to do income averaging.
What do you mean if you, do you mind taking a moment and speaking a little more towards like how the town of Plymouth would sort of be on the hook for, I don't know if regulating is the right word, but administrating?
Plymouth is the grant recipient, and that's what I'm jumping in the middle of this, right? But if Plymouth is signatory to a grant agreement, the grant is actually to Plymouth, and then you're sub-granting it to the nonprofit. Joseph, is that what's happening?
That's what Elm Grove has proposed
Yeah,
at the town.
so just be aware that, you're on the hook for compliance. But if you're partnering with a nonprofit who knows what they're doing, the risk is really low.
Partnering with the LRPC, in other words.
Yeah, I mean, you end up becoming the grant recipient, you sub-grant it to the nonprofit.
Yeah.
And that's probably the loan that you're referring to, that is, that's a 0% deferred payment loan, which is your leverage for compliance. So it's actually a great tool to have if you're a town trying to support affordable housing.
Right.
It's great to have because you're holding that note.
Right.
So is Elm Grove a not-for-profit or a nonprofit?
I don't know.
I didn't think they were.
I thought they were a profit company.
Yeah, I don't
All-profit.
Yeah, I didn't think they were,
they're
so
nonprofit.
LRPC would be.
It doesn't matter, they're still on the hook.
Yeah. Well, when you,
LRPC is the administrator, they're not the, like, sub-grantee.
Okay,
when you said working with a
purely
non-
in the middle there as administrator, yeah.
But would LRPC, as the administrator, would they oversee compliance on behalf of the town?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Because otherwise.
how do we oversee?
I think part of the earlier conversation was that with LRPC involved, that it takes the town out of it. But are they gonna, is part of their responsibility and part of their role ensuring compliance on behalf of the town? So that we're not on the hook, and I think that's
Or if we are on the hook, that we're actually taking responsibility in a real way. Like, we actually have mechanisms.
Counter-sue LRPC.
Yeah.
But if we are on the hook, then who at the town level is gonna be responsible for?
Yeah.
Like the
Oversight.
administrative burden.
Right,
On
yeah,
that.
if
Or not necessarily, but
LRPC is not gonna do
aspect.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a annual audit or something, or how is that done, and who's responsible for ensuring compliance?
Yeah.
That would be a good one for the select board to talk about with Elm
100%.
Grove.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
LRPC.
It's a great question for when we have the hearing with
Yeah,
them.
and maybe some of these questions, like Matt's questions about the makeup of affordability, if we could get these to Elm Grove ahead of time, to give them a heads up, say, hey, we're gonna be looking for answers to these things at the public hearing.
Yeah, so there's not a gotcha to them.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's also so that we can get an answer from them instead of saying, gee, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
Glad you're here tonight, Zach, so that you
yeah,
can
happy to
get all this
bring that back.
firsthand.
Yeah.
I think these are really good questions, yeah. All right. So shall we move on
Your
to,
hand up again, Jude? I thought I saw you raise your hand to say something again.
waiting for.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so it's your turn. Do you want to join us at the table somehow? Yeah, please. Please do. Pick a chair.
We've got a few choices.
Huh?
I'm saying we've
Oh,
got
yeah,
a few
you got a few
choices.
choices.
Yeah, we usually have one at the end there, but feel free to, there's a cord out underneath there.
And I will be very careful.
Okay, so we are going to review the Housing Master Plan chapter draft and recommendations that has been written for us by Barrett Planning Group. So Judy Barrett is here to go through this with us, and we've had 2 weeks, maybe more, a month. Wow, summer is flying by. To take a look at the goals and strategies section of this draft master plan. And when we last spoke with Judy, she asked us to comb through it and think about who is responsible for each of these strategies and thinking about timelines. Do you have a
If there are
pla-
strategies you want to include, too. I mean,
Okay.
it's sort of all the above.
Do you want to start somewhere, or should we, because I can always start us off somewhere. I have notes.
I think you should start us off,
Okay.
because I've been in the car for 4 hours with 4 dogs.
That's-
and
I've been
I
out-
need to chill out right
I've
now.
been working out outside, working outside all day. So my brain is also a little fried. So I found myself as I was combing through these needing to look at some of the other documents referenced.
Yep.
I'm gonna look at page 44, which
Yep.
is the diverse housing strategies section. So the 5th block down, it says encourage compact development and mixed-use development in the village commercial and highway commercial zones to consolidate vacant commercial spaces. How do we do that? I have a few questions of how with these strategies, because then I think that would help me understand better who after.
So if you have vacant properties that aren't going anywhere, and you're
Mhm.
trying to get somebody to do something with them,
Mhm.
I mean, one thing to consider is essentially allowing an upzoning for certain types of outcomes. And I'll just give you an example, because we're working on this in another community. Say you wanted to encourage some kind of small-scale multifamily.
Mhm.
I'm just loath to use the word missing middle anymore, but, you know, just something like that. Then you essentially provide more density for a project that has certain types of units in it than you would do for something else. If you want to have, you know, a development comprised of buildings with 1 to 4 units, which is typically a homeownership model, you allow more density for that. Nobody wants to hear what I'm really going to say. You can provide an economic incentive through regulation
Okay.
to do what you're asking for. It doesn't guarantee it, but it is the one tool you've got, that plus RSA 79E,
Yeah.
which we will eventually get to, but that's the way to think about it.
And
I
we-
mean, you know, I was talking to Joseph, was it yesterday we were talking, and I just, the whole issue here with the co-location and how that kind of opened up development is absolutely fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And it's such a good example of how some seemingly simple change in a regulation can open up the possibility of development that you just didn't even see coming at you.
Yeah, it's really, that has been taken advantage of several times,
Yeah, I'm
so.
thrilled, frankly. So it's just a question of if you're trying to encourage certain types of investment, upzone for it,
Up zone,
meaning provide more density, make the rules
I see.
easier.
okay,
Can I just maybe
Yes.
suggest,
please.
that we just kind of,
Comb through?
we have, like, let's go through them in
Sure,
order.
let's do it.
Like page by page, see if we have any comments or questions.
Yep.
I'm wondering about the responsibility part, and I'm wondering also, just more broadly, to what extent that might be best handled with, like, 1 or 2 of us, planning department and a new town manager, just kind of running through the list and kind of,
Yeah,
as opposed to like going through them one by one with the whole board, and especially once we get a new town manager, you know, it might affect some of these decisions.
yeah.
True. That's entirely up to you guys. I mean, my only concern for you is I need to be able to sort of wrap this up.
You know, I get
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
And,
And I wonder if we could even consider it wrapped up without an actual lead for each of these, because I think the big bulk of the work is like everything else in some ways.
yeah.
As long as we can edit this document somehow without you.
What I was hoping to do was to give it to you as a desktop published file, but if we're not gonna be able to fill that column in right away, I'll
Yeah,
give you the
yeah.
Word document, certainly.
Okay.
I would give it to you anyway,
Yeah, okay.
in case you wanted it.
Edit
but,
it afterwards.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. So you do not want to comb through each one.
I mean, I'm just saying what came to my mind.
I mean,
And other people might totally disagree with me, which is fine.
I do think it's a really interesting proposal to immediately throw our new town manager into talking about this kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's immediately, it's like by the time we finish our master plan. 'cause
Sure.
We're gonna have a list of about like 100 other of these as well, that we're all gonna start assigning out.
Okay, so you're not thinking in August.
No,
You're thinking
no,
next
no.
year.
Yeah, I'm thinking when we actually do the entire master plan, it might be, we're gonna have like so many more of these.
Sure.
So, another thing you could do, if you want to put a ribbon around this, call it done, is we can take the responsibility column out of here and then give you a Word document that essentially is editable for you, but you can add whatever you want, but take that column out of this document. I don't have your 2018 master plan in front of me, so I don't remember if it actually calls out responsibility.
It does.
Yeah.
It does?
I have it right here if you want to look at it.
Which is not to say we have to copy that, but, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
it is
yeah,
pretty
it's-
standard, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's obviously why we did it this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
I mean, I have thoughts about where responsibility should lie, so,
Yeah,
but I don't want to tie anybody's hands. I've just only been doing this for a long time.
I'd
but-
still like your suggestion.
Yeah, I love your
You're the
suggestions.
professional and like your input.
Well, I mean, anything to do with zoning, I think, does kind of start
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
But something like working with a land trust to support, preservation of affordable housing is not necessarily a planning board responsibility.
Complicated one, actually.
It's very complicated. That's the sort of thing where you might want to see yourself perhaps working in partnership with a regional planning agency or someone who's got land trust experience. Because I don't know that actually is your job. Problem is, you don't have like an active housing committee here or housing department per se. In a somewhat larger town, those are the people who would do that. But I think it's important to keep this in here because one thing I certainly remember from working on the HOP grant 1 and 2 was a desire to be able to create affordable home ownership. And that's what a land trust does.
I mean, this is one of the things I'm most excited about in this whole, like, all the recommendations. And yeah, like, I'm not sure the town can do that, but the town can open up a space for a conversation.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And whoever facilitates that conversation, or what that might look like, or even put, like, if it's in our master plan, like, people can look at us and they'll, I don't know how many people read master plan, but opening up that conversation somehow, I mean, because we really can't make that happen on our own.
Do you have a conservation land trust here?
Emmy Baker Land Trust.
Well, that's where it starts.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the best stories about small-scale affordable housing have come out of conservation trusts, where you've got conservation and housing people working together. There are many models of that. So that might be where the conversation starts, is do they have any interest as a conservation land trust
right.
in partnering with somebody to do some housing in their, either the existing holdings or future ones?
That'd be a surprise to me, but it'd be interesting to ask at least.
Yeah, I mean, there's been tremendous, really, the models for this on Martha's Vineyard are just phenomenal.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so you would not be the first ones to do that.
I did write down Emmy Baker Land Trust as well as Economic Development Committee, Select Board, Planning Board.
I think my feeling is we run through them because I think a lot of these we're going to be able to pretty check off pretty easily.
Well, the first one is irrelevant. Revise the zoning ordinance to remove the 6-unit cap because of
I
state
know,
law.
I'm laughing about that, like, well, that one's already done for you, so.
Well, except, I do have a question about that, though. And it is a board
ICD?
question, which is the ICD, which
Yeah.
is the one place in town where it's most appropriate to actually have larger multifamily housing, maybe besides village commercial, but like bigger than the village commercial.
Yeah,
We already allow like large-scale hotels and stuff and Walmarts.
Yeah.
But we can't allow large-scale housing. Do we want to allow it there as well? And what does that mean with the fact that we also allow industrial and, which is a not really
Not compatible with housing.
compatible use?
well, it depends on what kind of industry it is.
It does, and we might need to define that better, like only light industry or whatever. But I mean, if anywhere in town would seem appropriate for a larger scale, and that whole area is currently exempt because of the industrial use there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's really worth a conversation. I'm not sure right now, right here.
Okay.
Or maybe it is. I mean, I'm bringing it up, and it is our master plan discussion, so.
I mean, we're going to talk about it once we get to state changes anyway, so.
But I mean, I would add the ICD to that. I mean, to the, I mean, or maybe it's a completely different thing because this might be null and void anyway with state law changes. But I mean, I really think it's worth considering multifamily by right in the ICD, whatever that means for the I in the ICD, I'm not sure.
I agree.
Okay.
Might be a short time frame.
I think it's a real opportunity there.
Could be medium too, though. Not a huge rush. Okay.
And that would be planning board?
Yeah, planning board definitely. I mean, I think most of them
Most of these
seem
are probably
to be
planning board.
Planning board. I mean, support where appropriate. The last one, support where appropriate. Strategies and tactics from the Council of Housing Stability Strategic Plan. I looked up this plan because I didn't know what it was. So I'm gonna have to pull it up again. I wasn't certain if there was something specifically in the strategic plan.
So if this is a town master plan that the planning board drafts and approves, do we collaborate with the Economic Development Committee, or does the Economic Development Committee just do this? Because by saying collaborate with, is that assuming it's the
Yeah.
planning board?
Well,
Or-
you know, that's a good point, because I don't know that you need to do anything. I think it really is sort of, we need you to do this.
Yeah. And to say collaborate, it's assuming it's the planning board already, I think, in some ways. And I'm wondering if you can just take that out, because Economic
can.
Development Committee do this.
What do you want to do? I mean, if you guys want to do that, it's fine.
Because
I-
really,
What-
it's a-
what
it's a-
one
it's
is
a
this?
town document. It's not
This
just a
is
planning board.
one,
Fourth
two,
one
three,
down?
fourth one down. Says
Still the fourth one down.
Planning in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I went to the last one, then John went to the fourth one, so we jumped around a little
Sorry.
bit. It's okay. Just making sure it's clear. So collaborate with the Economic Development Committee and other relevant groups to expand and support employment opportunities with livable wages for existing and new student residents to stay in Plymouth.
So with some slight rewording, we could take collaborate with Economic Development Committee out and put the Economic Development Committee in the middle column.
Yeah,
Yes,
yep.
I think GRDC was something that people brought up last time as well.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Grafton Regional Development Corporation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So the strategic plan from it's from the New Hampshire Council on Housing Stability. Okay,
I think most of these are, like, fall on the planning board, though,
yeah,
for the rest of the page, I think.
So RSA 79E may or may not.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right about that.
I mean, you can certainly launch it.
The initiative might happen here.
Might start here, but ultimately, it's really the select board.
Yeah. Is that both then?
Let's say all the 79s
Yeah.
roll up with them, right, pretty much?
I think so.
Does that require town meeting approval?
Yes, you do. I'm pretty sure you do have to get town meeting approval in a town. I've only worked on this in a city. And yes, you
Yeah.
would have to go to town meeting, because the city council had to approve it in Keene.
So if the
Yeah, yeah.
the
Yes,
legislative
we'd have
body.
to-
Yeah,
So would
legislative
that
body.
be a warrant article that would come from us or from the Board of Selectmen?
Probably the select board.
Okay.
But it might be initiated by us, the
With a
conversation.
support letter to the select board.
Yeah.
yeah.
But what it does is it empowers them to then enter
Yeah.
into RSA 79E agreements.
So maybe that should be planning board and select board.
I will just mention to all of you, when Keene went through the process of expanding their RSA 79E programs, they really did a very thoughtful job thinking about, well, what kinds of projects do we really want to encourage? Because they were interested in housing, creating additional housing through the residential revitalization program. And so they had just standards in their selection criteria around converting carriage houses into housing or creating ADUs as part of a residential revitalization project. I mean, they really kind of thought through it. It's a city that has a climate resilience plan, and so part of their thinking was resilient design, and they just really thought about it. So it's more than just, do we want to encourage reinvestment in a particular property? It's what are we
What
getting
kind
back?
of, what kind of redevelopment do we want to
Yeah,
see? Yeah,
So something to think about,
I'm learning a lot right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think also, not to throw more on Joseph's plate, but I mean, is that something that,
Yeah.
as a community planner, that, like, for example, the old 7-Eleven building up on Tenny Mountain Highway, which has lost its last tenant.
But which one?
With 7-Eleven.
Well, there's
Gas
US
station
Cellular.
is
is it?
it?
Oh,
Teddy
this,
Mountain Quick Check.
the tiny strip mall that's
Yeah.
empty? Oh,
Yeah, empty strip
Uh,
mall.
yeah.
Wait,
that,
they lost, sorry.
They lost US Cellular.
yes,
Dang.
that
Some coach.
it would be nice if we had some avenue in town to be able to, you know, identify underutilized properties and to be able to say, okay, how can we assist either the current property owner or a new potential owner to develop that in a manner that is gonna be beneficial to the town?
That was in our 2018 master plan.
Exactly the conversation you should be having. Yeah.
And we have that through another 79E, the second aspect of it, with rehab, which we haven't adopted, but would sort of fall under that, I
The
think.
residential revitalization zone
was
is.
residential.
If it's
is
residential.
rehab, Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if it's
and
not
I'm
a
getting off the
commercial-
track of not necessarily
Right, 'cause
res,
that
but
building's
that
not
property could potentially be,
Sure.
you know, if we allow for multifamily zoning and density in that.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
I mean, so working with developers can go to a lot of different places. I know I was encouraging Scott, who I liked in many ways, as a town manager, and he was very reticent to kind of like start those conversations and try to like lure someone. Development corporations are good at this sort of thing, and they
Awesome at it.
have a little bit less of the mandate of like public oversight to actually get the work done.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, but it helped me get the work done.
They have better-
Economic development committees can do that. I don't know that we're heading in that direction as a committee.
Can do what, sorry, I lost track.
Kind of that outreach to lure in developers, but
Oh,
typically
sure.
they don't do as much of that as opposed to a development corporation.
Okay, yeah, yes, yes, we did,
Yeah.
we were having early on conversations about working with the Grafton Regional Development Corporation about that exact thing.
Because I have seen communities that even on their community, on the town's website, they will say, okay, here are development opportunities in town. Here's this, 15-acre parcel that's in this zoning, and these are some of the things that it could be used for. And getting a little off track a little bit from the main discussion, but
It's fine, it's really good.
I think that it'd be nice to, if we did have an avenue in the town administration to be able to direct, steer development of some of these.
And this is one of those places where we're lucky to have a town manager rather than a town administrator
Yes,
that can actually
Yes,
do a little bit of that.
yes.
yes, definitely.
So we,
I was just gonna say, another piece for that, which might be taking us way on a different path than the housing side, but economic revitalization zones are another good tool for like that type of vacant commercial plaza or underutilized industrial. That can be another kind of incentive that can work for that.
so in our 2018 master plan, under the economic development policies and tasks, we have, number 12, inventory vacant, underused, or town-owned land and structures to identify, protect, and encourage the development of housing sites and/or commercial sites that can accommodate higher-paying jobs in the manufacturing, selected service industries, and research technology when consistent with adjacent neighborhoods. And the responsibility was town administration and the town meeting voters. So it's interesting, like, is there room in this strategies section to basically restate that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you just
Yeah,
add
and
that
well, then
in
the
as-
question becomes, it's housing, but it's also broader than housing. So does it go in a housing chapter, does it go in both sections?
It could go in both.
Economic development and housing, and it could probably go in both.
I think it could go in both. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, when you're doing the whole plan, it's really easy to set that up, because
Yeah.
you can just set this table up to
Right,
actually
right,
Yeah.
indicate where there's a strategy that
Overlapping.
addresses more than one goal.
right. Yeah. Synthesize the document.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask about the elderly property tax exemption?
Yes.
I was gonna ask about that too.
And I know we do provide tax relief, I believe, through the select board for elderly or other residents sometimes.
Can you
Is
say,
that the same thing, or is that something different?
It's on this,
can you say where you were?
The fourth one
44,
down,
fourth
under
one down.
diverse,
next page.
Thank you.
do you know anything about that, Zach?
select board or the assessors?
I think this,
I thought, it was-
I thought the select board has to adopt it.
Okay.
I thought that the select board hears, or the town I don't know, maybe
So-
it's the assessors.
Does the assessor make recommendations to the select board around elderly and veterans tax
Definitely for,
exemptions?
definitely for veterans, and I think for elderly as well. I signed so many.
And is that the same RSA that we're talking about, or?
That I'm
I
not
think
sure.
it's either this or a companion one.
Okay. So we might be doing that already, I'm not sure.
I don't believe there is any elderly tax exemption.
It's only veterans?
Town. Correct. It's, there's a low income one and the veteran one. There's nothing offered to elderly.
Yeah, and it may be the
Okay.
low income is how
It-
we
It's
Yeah.
sort of
end up.
like, can sometimes overlap.
Yeah,
And I think it.
that may
yeah.
be what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So, Judy, do you know, is that a board of select, is that a select
I
board?
believe it's select board, but you know what, I'm gonna find out.
Okay.
Because I'm embarrassed, I'm not sure. But I think it is.
You don't have to.
None of
worry.
us know either, so.
If I
No,
may,
it bothers me when I don't know this stuff, so.
we do have at least some level of elderly tax exemption. I only know because I have to hand out applications all the time to
Oh,
people.
okay.
But it's income based.
It is income based.
Correct. So there isn't
This
one
would be
just for elderly.
age-based
This is purely age
exclusively,
based.
yeah.
There is no actual elderly one. You might see a lot of elderly people grabbing it because of their income.
It's labeled as
Correct.
our elderly.
I saw it, so I grabbed one the other week when I was in here. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I gave it to someone who I knew I was having some challenges, and they went to do it. They said, well, it's actually not elderly; it's income based.
Interesting.
All right, yeah. They said I'm not broke enough by $1,000.
What is elderly?
Keep working hard.
Is it 62?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, good
You
question.
can look up the RSA.
Maybe 62. Anyway,
But yeah, but it would still, that, to me, is something that we should have in place.
I agree.
65 and older.
So that would probably be select board, the rest of these are probably planning board, I'm thinking, until we get to child lots. Did we learn any more about child lots?
so I talked to Noah Hodgetts, and I think you may know there's a group that meets pretty consistently in New Hampshire, looking at identifying things in the statutes that need to be updated. And this is now on the list to look at.
Okay.
What one was this? I'm sorry.
Child
The
lots.
sixth one down on diverse housing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Review
So-
Plymouth subdivision
Several
regulations.
communities have started doing anyway,
Well, that's, I know,
preemptively.
they're doing it. You know, you just wait till you get sued. You guys think you're a
Child
home rule
lots,
state, whether you
not-
like it or not.
Oh, you're saying child laws. I'm like,
Oh,
I am not-
So, yeah, it's the ability to take a lot and divide, create another, like, put an accessory dwelling unit on it, the ADU on a separate lot. Basically dividing the lot in two
Without frontage.
without, and that lot with the ADU doesn't have frontage, so it's a child lot of the parent lot, which is the one that does have frontage.
What's the advantage of that again? It's just a,
More flexibility, you can create more units, you can create more, well, there's two things, you
Oh.
can create more units, but also for first-time homebuyers.
Yeah, it's small.
experience,
it's a bite
It's
size.
fee simple sale.
Yeah.
So then the ADU could be sold separately?
Yes, that's correct.
Or a full house in the back lot
Or,
even.
yeah, it doesn't have to be an ADU, I'm using that as an example. If you had an ADU, you could subdivide your lot and be able to convey that ADU separately. If you want to, if you have land and you are interested in perhaps developing more housing on your lot, you don't have to do an ADU, you would just be subdividing the lot, creating a separate lot, putting a house on it.
With some
and
kind of
that-
easement for.
Yeah, you have.
So, because you're basically selling a back lot.
That's
that-
correct,
with-
right.
There's no frontage and that has,
correct.
and recorded easement, okay.
That's a
So
child lot.
it's,
Which by state law currently is not legal.
We don't talk about that.
I think
It
we
may or
have
may
to.
not be legal.
So
I'm sorry,
it
they're
appears
permitted by
that-
state law?
It appears that state law right
not?
now would not allow it because your
Oh.
law clearly says every lot shall have frontage.
Frontage.
So that is now being looked at.
Except if it's on an island. Then you can get out.
True.
And we have back lots that require road
It's
frontage.
a way
or
to do
right-of-ways.
extra housing and frankly,
Frontage.
flexible
You do
design.
need a frontage.
Say that again?
It's a way to do more housing and also do flexible design.
Okay.
I know we've talked briefly about it. Do you think, what's the sort of cost benefit between a child lot, parent lot, and like a flag lot or
You can
hammerhead
do
lot.
flag lot, you can do flag lots now, I mean.
Yeah.
That,
They
and
have
frankly,
frontage.
that's what some places are doing.
Well, you were talking about like a flag lot with like, when we were talking, like, with like just like very minimal frontage.
like-
And even having like an easement for a driveway,
Yeah,
because
right.
it was so minimal frontage.
If you wanted to essentially
But it's
do
still kind of
this, but
ridiculous
comply
to have
with
like
the
these,
law.
like, I'm gonna put like 6 feet of frontage on here just to have like,
That's right.
comply with state law.
It's so dumb, it's, right. So you can do that now, if you have the ability to, if the lot that you're on has sufficient frontage.
I mean,
Be
many,
able to give a little bit of frontage to a lot behind you, then you
Yeah.
could do that.
there are many properties that are flag lots in town.
Oh, yeah.
Like on Highland Street.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, but that's still
Still requires
requires
frontage.
frontage.
The issue is trying to create more homeownership opportunities, that's really what it's about. So,
I mean, if it's a good chance it's gonna change anyway, just leave it in there, I guess,
I
right?
would definitely leave it in there,
Okay.
if I were you.
Okay.
Do we want to keep it as medium rather than long-term, or? 'cause-
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's now kind of on the list of what we're gonna look
TBA.
Action item for state legislature.
at. Yeah, it will become an action, that's what it's gonna have to be.
State, TBA.
I would leave it as medium,
Medium.
Because that could change next year,
change
It
next
could next
year.
year.
change in
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, it's not really an action, I mean, it is for them, but I mean, for us, we have to do it through a zoning amendment if it ever gets changed. And if we didn't wanna be one of those handful of communities that just does it anyway.
I don't
Yeah.
want to get into that.
So,
You don't wanna get sued.
So develop rehabilitation, adaptive reuse, and infill development incentives to promote the renovation of existing buildings. So is that a similar, like, density incentive?
Where are you? Just.
Sorry, the one just, number
Three from the
7.
bottom on.
Yeah, I mean, yes, density or, the, reduced permitting obstacles.
Would
Oh.
that be Economic Development Committee, or would it be us?
Us.
That's a good
Well,
question.
well, I mean, it's useful for economic development, it's also useful for housing.
But we're
and
the
this could
one,
also-
we're
I
the
mean,
ones who can write incentives.
The adaptive reuse could also include things like, unless state law already preempts this at this point, I don't even know, the adaptive reuse of any existing building for housing, even if it doesn't conform with housing requirements and whatever they may be, dimensional or unit numbers or what have you.
It does for ADUs and housing in commercial zones
Yeah.
under the new laws.
Yeah.
That's my understanding at this
Yeah.
time, anyway.
There's
Everything's
nothing that
moving
says you
targets.
can't create zoning to encourage adaptive reuse.
Yes. I'm just saying some of it is being taken care of by the state already,
Yes.
some of it,
Are people, I'm really curious, are communities complaining about the state
yes.
trying to?
Yes.
You know you're not alone, right? You know, there's like 50 other states where everybody complains about
Yeah.
liberating housing rules.
I mean, I think some of them.
I'm not saying, and not everybody's complaining, of course, but like, there are certainly loud people in every community complaining about this.
Yeah.
I see.
And I support a lot of these changes, and I complain about, like, a lot of it's just really poorly written.
Yes,
What I
Like
don't
good
like
ideas,
is,
but really badly implemented.
yeah.
it seems like the state is taking a lot of local control away from the towns, which,
They're taking local control away to impose restrictive zoning.
but
So-
not just in zoning, a lot of areas, we're just losing our own decision-making voice. But,
You know, it's
Moving
a
on.
tough call. You're not the only person who feels that way. I think part of the problem is that if you have a statewide interest in addressing a problem and you have communities that don't want to address the problem, as a state, you either impose a mandate or you take something away to force the issue. You know, in a perfect world, cities and towns would, I think, probably take more responsibility for housing policy, but it's hard. I mean, you know, some of the work that's been done here was hard.
Yeah.
I would say in a perfect, like, legislative world, you also write these in such a way that you take away the ability to restrictively zone, but leave
The
local
tailoring.
space for implementation,
Yeah.
which we're not always getting very
Right.
well.
So,
I think
Okay.
the incentive question on this point that you were referencing the Economic Development Committee. I know that a lot of what we're talking about incentives are zoning incentives, bonuses or something like that, but
Yep.
could incentives in this context also mean like a 79E or an economic revitalization zone, like
Yep.
financial incentives as well be lumped in here, or would that? not
Although
really?
79E revitalization zone is the next,
The next
Is the next one,
Right.
yeah.
But there's other, I mean, you can, it would have to be a significant enough project to make it work. We can also look at TIFs, tax incentive financing agreements.
TIFs.
You can do those and
which we've been talking about.
We have been talking about
lately.
TIFs that come up. What are age neighborhood style
Thank you, good question.
where am I?
developments?
Last
Right
one.
underneath, it's the last one on this page, 44. Study the barriers, benefits, and opportunities for age neighborhood style developments in Plymouth's ag zone.
So, oh my God, my age is gonna catch up with me today. I'm brain dead, I'm tired, I'm looking for a term and it will come to me in a minute.
Okay,
It will come to me in a minute.
I'll look it up on the internet.
Universal design.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, got it, yeah, okay,
It's been quite a day.
yeah.
Universal
So
design.
universal design meaning,
So universal design is more than building accessible buildings. It's like when you're doing a site plan for a housing development or a commercial mixed-use development. It's thinking about how you design walkways and not just the width, but also providing for pedestrian rest spaces. It's the sort of overall, what does it take for someone with a mobility impairment or some kind of limitation to be able to enjoy all of this space the same way someone who doesn't have such a limitation
Or
can?
sensory impairments, or,
Yeah, so sometimes it is about landscaping choices.
can I ask, why is it in the agricultural zone? As
Um,
opposed to just universal?
so I'm embarrassed to tell you, I'm not sure why they said that,
Okay,
but I'm gonna find out.
okay.
maybe because
It
there's
makes
more,
sense, but like,
Why?
there's more
Yeah.
development opportunities in the
Yeah,
ag
it
zone.
could be it.
I mean, as a principle though, it makes sense, like,
True.
anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. Would this be something that we would incorporate into our subdivision regulations?
Good question. Site plan is a good place to park something
Oh,
like
yeah.
this, because you're really dealing with overall
It's
site
design.
design.
Right.
But yes, even in your subdivision regulations, I'm thinking about like the subdivision regulations for cluster that we still need to take those one more step, oh my God. But to be able to put in sort of, site design standards for subdivision would make sense. It would. I suspect it was simply, first of all, there's land there. And second,
It's the FROD.
if you're trying to kind of work within, say, a cluster type of framework, the ag zone is a good place to do it.
Yeah, I mean, because there isn't really much viable open space in the other zones.
Right, right.
I mean, could we think about age neighborhood style redevelopments in existing residential
absolutely, yeah.
areas? I mean, there's plenty of, like, where I live, there's no sidewalk on my street, and it's
Could I,
a problem.
Change
So
that.
it seems kind of
no, I mean, it seems-
universal.
I would agree, and if it said universal design here, as opposed to age neighborhood
I'm
style,
gonna
I
change
would
it.
not be confused.
I'm gonna change it.
Okay. I mean, that's a term I know, and this is not, yeah, okay.
And should we address this as we're working on our subdivision regulations?
Right now. You could start to think about it.
I think
I mean,
we'd start to, yeah.
It might be complex to,
Yeah.
I mean, we could start to think about it and maybe fully think about it going forward.
Yeah, and I'm only bringing it up because that is also something that we're working on.
Right now.
Is there,
Well, it
place.
does say, it says study the barriers, benefits, and opportunities for this kind of thing. So there's a certain amount of coming to understand how to actually implement it that we need to do,
Yeah.
that we maybe aren't doing, don't have the capacity for right now.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, good point.
And there might be even model ordinances we can
Yeah.
yeah.
copy paste from.
Let me check.
As well as also just an awareness
Yeah,
that if somebody does come forth with a subdivision proposal, that we can be aware of, okay, let's let's try and incorporate some of these things into it.
And I mean, on the really light lift side of things, you can even just say, like, to an applicant, like, you need to consider this, and prove that you've considered this.
Yeah.
And not even give very strict guidelines as to what that means.
Tell us
Well,
how
maybe
you
you can do
did
that
it.
in 10 years, but like, for now, you can just say, like, I've considered this and this is how.
Tell us how you did it.
Yeah.
And maybe it should just be development in Plymouth, or just development, rather than in the ag zone.
Yeah, I mean-
Exclusively.
Yeah, I don't see why it needs to, can't it be all-inclusive?
Okay. So on page 45, and I'm aware of the time, ensure that there is an adequate supply of accessible dwelling units in and near downtown. Again, how?
Sure.
How do we ensure?
Yeah, just, so if you're doing any kind of, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but it's such an obvious tool. If you're doing any kind of community revitalization tax relief type of project downtown, that's a very standard, easy, and well-tested way to get housing in your downtown area. So, you know, you can't insure it. It's probably, we need a different verb there. I think it's really encourage,
Whoa. Okay, we're good.
encourage,
Encourage.
yeah.
Okay, so then
Oh,
the
now we
next,
have the universal design.
yeah, the next one might be redundant to.
Yeah, so, but I'm gonna tell you, I think we need to consolidate those two.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they're saying the same thing.
I mean, is it just about multiple age groups, or is it about, like, all sorts of diversity of people?
Well, universal design is not age-specific. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it comes out of age-friendly design. But,
It
But it's-
encompasses a lot of other,
other disabilities, besides mobility.
yeah.
And it's also like moms pushing baby carriages.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yep.
kind of stuff too. Like,
I mean, so do we need, like, the age group part of that, or is it just universal design
I
purposes?
think we just need the universal
Universal
design. I'm gonna
design, yeah.
consolidate these two. Obviously, I'm
Okay.
gonna be editing this, so,
This is why we're here.
yeah.
Great. Explore partnerships with Plymouth's faith-based communities. I'm not sure who would do that.
Maybe a town manager thing.
Yeah.
I think town manager.
Agreed.
Okay.
Elderly housing ordinance, question mark.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, what is an elderly
Just-
housing ordinance?
It's an ordinance to encourage age-restricted housing.
And that comes out of how, that was a topic that came up in our,
Yeah. I know that they picked up on issues around the elderly, so age-restricted housing ordinance is simply you have zoning to encourage housing for people who are 55 and over.
I mean, if it came out of our engagement, then I guess it goes in here. I'm not really a fan of age-restricted housing in any direction. I'd much rather see mixed, especially if we're going universal design anyway. But I guess
Yeah.
if it came out of our engagement, how much do we want to push back against what the community said?
well, I'm trying to find where
So,
in the chapters it talks about
Well, we've
this.
also, I mean, based on some of the
Diverse.
data, our 65-plus population is one of the faster-growing populations, too.
But I mean, but
So
do we want to put them in
Ordinance-
age-restricted areas, or
Yeah, that's
just
what I mean, though, but
integrate
like-
them everywhere?
if the ordinance was to encourage further development, well, that's an area that is growing, so, I don't know.
But I also feel like if we really are thinking about this universal design and that incorporates an age inclusivity element to it, then we don't necessarily need exclusive.
there's a
Age
big difference
based.
between 55 or 65 and 85.
Okay, yeah.
There are
And
people
I
who
think-
don't want to live near kids.
I don't understand those people.
And
I
I'm not
know
sure I'm
they
very
exist.
sympathetic to them. And I'm all for communities being integrated and providing support for people who need support.
Judy, what were you gonna say about
sorry.
the difference between 55 and 85? I mean, that's certainly a big difference.
I just think people's care needs change,
Yes, certainly.
and the ability to provide that level of care simply happens more when it is co-located with housing. It's an efficiency issue, you know, so, human service organizations that provide, on-site services for elderly and, mobility impaired are gonna do that in a concentrated location. It's much easier. Imagine trying to run all over town and do this as opposed to one space. So I understand what you're saying. But since I'm 72 and I get to care about these things,
So,
I think that it's just, we all have to have a little humility here about what it actually means to be 85 or 90.
My neighbor's 93.
so this sounds
She's amazing. Yeah.
different than a 55 and over development
It's a very
like
good
Crescent
point.
Street, because that's,
Yeah.
Active
when-
adult,
yeah, this sounds to me more like a,
Assisted living or something.
yeah, or
It
like
is. continuing
Um,
care.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, retirement type, assisted living type.
So we should probably make that clear.
And that I'm totally like down with, yeah.
But is that something that we need to do in an ordinance, or?
Well, again, it's the density that you need to do assisted living, I'll just
Mhm.
pick on that, for
Yeah,
example,
I think it's a good example.
is really higher than what you would be thinking about for multifamily housing.
Mhm.
Sure.
Because the units are smaller, it's just, you got a service package in there. So to make all that work, the density kind of is gonna be higher.
So I guess the question I'd have is if somebody walked in, today and proposed an assisted living center,
Our current zoning has something like this, doesn't it?
would it be allowable under our current zoning?
It might be, but the density probably doesn't work.
Yeah, it would have to comply with those requirements. So we do have continuing care retirement community. I can read about that a little bit and share it with you. So generally, it has to be a 10-acre lot. There's setbacks.
So we're segregating people.
Minimum, okay, so it shall not
In the
exceed
back of the
5
lot,
units per
please.
acre. That's probably what you were, the maximum density is 5 units per acre.
Oh, God, no, no. No.
Okay, so, yeah, this.
Okay,
this is
so,
something to
yeah,
work
so
on.
we definitely
Um,
need
You're
to
talking
make some
like 20,
changes. Yeah.
25 units an acre, because they're small units.
So
And-
I'm thinking of what's that? The big place in Concord that is not completely continuing care, or they have like graduated. You can
Yes.
move in and live independently, and then you can
Mhm.
graduate to continuing
Right.
care.
Right.
And it's not always age-based either. There's, continuing care facilities that take care of someone of any age,
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, truly,
that
the true
deviates.
continuing care model is, I start out with my golf clubs. And I have fun, and eventually I get old and I need more care, so I move into assisted living. And I do that as long as I have some self-care capacity. When I lose really those skills, then I'm probably looking at nursing, more skilled nursing care.
Yeah.
So having a campus with all of that
Right.
is sort of the concept of
Yeah.
continuing care, but,
It's so interesting to think about that kind of thing happening here because
yeah.
the university campus is like the campus that the town feels like it has room for. But clearly we're hearing this, so we need this kind of thing too.
Hmm.
It seems. Maybe not at the scale of PSU, but
Different size campus.
4,000.
I mean, a typical assisted living residence is 60 units.
Okay.
They come in modes, units of 60.
Yeah, so it sounds like that is something that we want to leave in there, and that's, planning board is the responsible
Yeah.
party.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it is consider adopting, it didn't say like, do this.
Well,
And we can definitely have a conversation
we
about it.
definitely, consider as a conversation.
Yeah. And a conversation worth having. And the next one kind of piggybacks, which is the non-assisted care retirement community in single-family residential.
Right.
So, okay, leverage available programs.
I mean, I have a
Sorry.
question. While we're talking about single, this is not
I
necessarily.
moved on too fast.
Diverse housing. While we're talking about things that we allow in a single-family residential, rather than create or necessarily encourage yet, can we at least say explore, like duplexes and triplexes by right?
In single family?
Yeah.
In single
We
family.
can have a residential zone.
Yes. Consider it. I mean, maybe not even like do it, but like consider it. Like it's a worthwhile conversation to have.
So instead of having multifamily and single family, just have residential generally, or?
Well, I think multifamily is more dense residential.
And our multifamily zone is so
It's small.
like
Well, yeah,
so small,
very
It's
specific.
very specific.
I
So-
really have like no problem with duplexes and triplexes, maybe even a
or even
quad.
some quads.
Yeah, in the what's currently called the single family.
Right, because you look at the multifamily, and you're like, all right, this
6 units.
one might like this zoning. Like, oh, this, like, all right, let's go look at where the multifamily zone is. You're like, oh, where else
It's
is
about
it?
2 streets.
Like, oh, it's here. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's written well, and I think there's been a lot of great improvements on it.
Yeah.
But then you look at where it actually is. You're like, oh,
Student housing.
And we have these big houses as well that are too big for most contemporary families. That could be converted.
yeah.
As well as, who knows, maybe new construction as well, but like, I don't see any reason not to, at the very least, consider and have a conversation about that.
I mean, it sounds like I've seen other towns and cities have multiple residential zones, and it's like residential A, and then they have the specific types of housing that are permitted in
R1,
residential
R2.
A,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
residential B has these specific types of housing. And we've just been so small that we have 2 types of housing, basically. So maybe we need to have,
I guess my concern is I'd rather see it by special exception and not by right. So that
What
there
if we
is some
split the
overview.
single family in half? I think, well, I think it's a conversation we can have
so
about what
we
this might
could,
look like.
we could, are we open to consider these questions?
Yeah, I'm not
in-
sure it goes in this section, but like,
In the master plan, when we say we should have these conversations, not necessarily.
No,
definitely do
I
this.
think it's good to have the conversation, and I'm leery of a lot of the changes that are going on that are, especially with ADUs by matter of right, that don't require, owner occupancy anymore. That has basically opened up it's now created that you can have 2 units in any district, including the single-family district, without the restriction of it being owner-occupied. So we've now, by default, the single-family district is no longer single-family, it's 2-family.
So
Because you can have an ADU and you can rent out both units.
right.
even if you only rented out one, you can still have 2 families there.
The,
And,
No, but what I'm saying, it used to be, if you had an ADU, you at least have to have it owner occupied. So,
Yes, principal dwelling.
so now we've opened up, as I say, the entire district as
And
2 families.
why do you feel that's important?
we've gone over this at length.
I'm curious though, to, yeah.
I think I like the idea of having it by special exception, just so that there is some oversight, just to, for continuity of the neighborhood and the appearance, and because I think that you might have some areas where you've got very small lots, and, is it necessarily a good fit? So, it's just a concern.
Okay, so could we add, I do think that this makes sense to add to this diverse housing section. Can we add a strategy that says something like, consider a revision of residential types, or like some, I don't know exactly how you would word it, John, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, is that diverse housing? I guess it is diverse housing, yeah.
I call it diverse housing.
It is diverse housing, yeah. There are multiple definitions of diversity.
Yeah.
Yes. But yes, it is diverse housing in other definitions of that term, and, consider, allowing by right, 2, 3, and 4 plexes in what is currently the single-family residential. And it's consider, to like, have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe even consider allowing it by right or special exception,
Yeah.
because there are different ways of
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Can I just get back to the last thing on this list, if we're done with that?
Yeah, please.
Leverage available programs to help landowners maintain the units. who should be the, we don't have a, I would call that ongoing, but who,
I also said ongoing. I found the Tri-County Community Action,
Oh,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
because I also had no idea how this would actually work.
New Hampshire Housing offers lead abatement financing and grants.
And that
to
would presumably
property
be
owners.
facilitated though by someone in town who could point these people
well,
in
that's
that
what I was
direction.
just gonna say, is
Like
who is the
building
local,
inspect- like,
who can say,
Refer people.
refer people to it?
Yeah.
That might be the code enforcement officer or something.
Yeah, it could be,
Code
and it,
enforcement,
How-
building inspector.
Yeah.
Buildings, because is it a problem of like there are these funds available for people to get loans to help improve their homes, but do they even know if they exist?
Well, I was gonna say, and it's an awareness issue that I think we need to publicize it.
Okay.
And that does fall on the town,
And,
even though the
No,
services
you're
might be
fine.
from other outside
Right.
providers.
I wonder if we'll see more funding come down, because I think there's new state legislation that are passed last year that, rental units, there's something to do with lead abatement and rental, or like a lead safe cert.
Yeah,
For
new,
rental
newly
units or
created
something.
rental units in buildings that constructed prior to 1978, I believe it is, have to have a lead safe certificate.
That rings a bell.
But that's only for newly created units.
Oh, okay, that was, okay. That was recent, right, last year or something?
Yes, yeah. Newly created rental units and daycares.
Very important.
Yeah, because it's a child, it's primarily
Yeah.
a child focus.
So,
Kids look at the windowsills.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Great. So, we still have,
We're back to owner occupancy of, unit occupancy requirements, which we removed, and we're just talking about again. Is that the same kind of occupancy we're talking about here?
Where were you, John?
the next.
Year-round housing?
After year-round housing, strictly enforce accessory dwelling unit and dwelling unit occupancy requirements.
Or is that occupancy in terms of not short-term rentals? That's a whole separate thing, actually. So, are we talking about like owner occupancy here?
Which one? I'm sorry. I had to-
The
Year-round
first-
housing, number one?
First, yeah.
The owner occupancy we removed last year.
So I think this may be in relation to, so this may have started before that change,
Okay.
but I think this also may connect somehow with, well, short-term rental is the next one.
Okay.
So I actually think that may be what inspired that.
Okay.
But since the owner occupancy thing is gone, we should probably just take this
Yeah, I
out.
think it's a moot point.
Yeah. I mean, just so you know, like almost every state is doing this. You're not alone, taking that owner occupancy piece away. It's just like across the country, that's what states are doing.
Well, New Hampshire has not done that yet,
No,
thought
but
they did.
but our town did.
Okay.
yeah, the town, the state allows
Allows you the option.
Yeah.
the option, right.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these, I remember thinking that, I was ripping through the rest of these last night. I mean, develop short-term regulations, that's us.
Yep.
ZBA, short-term.
Work with Lakes Region communities to develop a regional approach to short-term housing and the growth of vacation rentals in the area,
Economic development.
or LRPC.
I said
Or with
LRPC.
LRPC.
I also said that would be wild.
And there's so little ability to actually have any of this be enforceable. But we can still talk to one another, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to know what the other communities,
It is,
how,
yeah. That's
how
right.
they're handling it.
Sure.
And would that be a short, long-term, or that, I would consider
Well,
that more ongoing?
LRPC is working on its regional master plan right now.
I would call it medium.
So, shorter term then?
I guess so.
Not ongoing?
I mean,
They're in
ongoing,
the
sure.
process of like writing it, they just did all their engagement like in the past year.
Okay.
Ongoing, certainly, because we could certainly
But
talk.
the
to
question
each
is,
other.
where's the responsibility lie locally?
It only is local because regional planning commissions and any regional planning agency has like no power to
I
enforce
know.
anything.
That's right. It's a New England thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess the question would be who would work with the,
Yes.
Your
and I guess
planning,
that would
planning
be
board
the,
member.
yeah, planning board member.
And honestly, I don't think there's a regional approach right now with like LRPC. Like, I don't think there's a capacity for
They can have
Or
they can
one.
provide guidance,
Right,
but they can't
exactly.
tell us to do anything.
No, and so I think really a regional approach to short-term rentals, because we also, it's not just the lakes, it's just the White Mountains, and
Sure,
arguably they're larger in the STR business than
Yeah.
the lakes are.
arguably, yeah.
And every community is gonna have its own different needs.
Correct. That's what I think. Regionally, I think it'd be spinning our wheels there to.
Yeah.
I think a
I
kind
think
of,
consultation wise, but
Right. But, you
Sorry,
know,
continue.
you know, look at, say, Rumney and Holderness are two complete different animals.
yeah, maybe, rather than a regional approach, I don't know, it's kind of subtle.
I mean, I wouldn't get too hung up on this.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
I'm not going to either.
I think it would just be good to know what works.
And
what
we
works
have
each
broad
community.
regional guidance, which nobody has to follow anyway.
Yeah,
And,
guidance is sufficient.
and that's about all we're gonna get.
right. No need to get any more hung up on it. Correct.
I mean, the next two, I mean, are kind of in concert with our whole discussion that we're having is how
Right
do,
now.
yeah, how do we move forward with short-term rentals?
Yeah. If we,
And,
good.
yeah, and I think so, that's part of the discussion that we're gonna try and have this year.
Yeah,
And the next one, Four Season Recreational Development, Honey Mountain, we're working on that.
good, we've already done it.
And that falls on planning board, I guess. Continuing public conversations that affect short-term rentals is still.
Planning board,
Again, that's what we're part of our discussion.
planning board.
Work with,
I'm not bored.
and the wider region.
Work with,
Um,
help us to ensure the future.
have a mix of unit styles and housing policies to meet the needs of ones. So this is where, like, housing diverse, is that year-round housing, this is kind of what we were talking with housing diversity in the single family. And they kind of overlap, but I guess that's fine.
Excuse me. Gosh,
Would that be long-term or would it be ongoing?
I think ongoing.
ongoing. Yeah,
And I would think that's probably would be part of our discussion, that as we review subdivision requests, that we try and get them to conform.
well, it's part of the consultation
Right.
process to an
Yeah.
extent. We can,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if we can incentivize in any way with this type of thing as well. Okay, we only have, well, we have 3 more pages essentially to get through,
I mean,
so.
incentivizing, if you can put a fourplex on a same lot as a single-family house, there's a lot of incentive to do that.
True. True.
Just base economics, there's a
Yeah.
lot of incentive.
Yeah.
Okay, can I skip ahead a little bit? I'm not sure that we really have time and capacity to really comb through everything unless anyone really wants to, since we have Judy here tonight. Because if I'm conscious of how much time we have and how much brain power we have, and also going through subdivision is on our
So,
agenda.
so can we each just like mention the ones that we have questions about?
Yes, we can.
So
Yeah. Go ahead.
collaborate with neighboring communities like Holderness to create a regional strategy for future student housing growth and decline. I'm not sure to what extent we even have our neighboring communities acting as sponges for that sort of growth. I think it's pretty minor.
Pretty minor would be my perception of it. Unlike
Maybe we could work more, but I mean,
like UNH is a different context.
Yeah.
Students are living in Dover
Yeah.
and in Newmarket, but
Right,
here,
Holderness, we really just have the River Road, River Street.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
yeah, it's a
Right.
little bit, but not much. And presumably the university is gonna keep pulling more and more students on campus,
Correct.
not because they're shrinking only, but
Their
because
own
it's also a
economics.
revenue stream.
Yeah, their own economics, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back one.
Okay.
Explore educational, what are town and gown conflicts?
So,
University and town butting heads with one another.
Okay, so the gown is the university student,
Correct.
interesting, okay.
Yes.
Or the administration.
yeah.
Oh, a gown,
The
oh,
administration.
Town and gown is usually town administration versus university administration.
Yeah.
interesting. Seems like a town manager,
Town manager for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah, and code enforcement.
yeah.
I think it's just also this recognition that a town that has a college campus in its wings,
Code enforcement
especially
and police.
downtown, has a unique set
Life
of
safety,
issues.
fire, police sort of.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a whole angle when we talk about town gown with the landlords and the university, right? That's a piece that we
True.
All
have
those dynamics.
helped to try to facilitate
Yeah.
those conversations.
Yeah.
Right.
Does our new town
Which has
manager
helped,
know?
I think, which has been beneficial.
What's that?
Like town and gown between
Yes,
both administrations and some of the larger landlords for students as well. Like
super
that
important.
involvement of the landlord party has been huge.
Super, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about sidewalk expansions and maintenance and putting it on the CIP. And I'm not sure if this is a Judy question, you could, although certainly you can provide your opinion. Should we consider as part of that, and putting in our master plan to adopt impact fees? Is that worth it to pay for things like sidewalks and expansion of that kind of facilities?
Has there been much discussion here about impact fees?
There has
Not
been
yet.
in the past, like, 6 months to a year. We've started to have a
Yeah,
conversation.
you really should be.
There was a
And we have
webinar
an
last
ordinance
week.
that says we can,
I
but we
know.
don't have the study that says, like, we know how to do it.
How to price them,
Yeah.
right, right.
Because there's the balance of if you put too many impact fees in place, it discourages development.
Yes.
But
Right.
if you don't put impact fees in place, then how do you maintain
The
infrastructure expansion? Yeah.
But I think it also goes, I heard someone else say it after like the last time we talked about it. They're like, wait a minute, everyone's been saying that, you know, more housing, whatever type of housing it might be, they're like, it's better for the community, it doesn't cost the community more, it's all a plus. And then they asked me, they said, but then you guys started talking about impact fees and the cost it creates in the town. So they were confused because everyone pushes the study, no, housing does not cost the taxpayers more money,
What's the
more
diff-
dollars. And then they heard the impact thing, they're like, wait a minute, but you guys are talking about the impact on police, fire, admin, like all this stuff.
So, my understanding of impact fees here, in most places, is that it's tied to the future cost of capital improvements to support growth, as opposed to the operating cost of police and
Yes.
fire.
Right. And that was an
So
answer
impact
we
fees
have
don't
discussed.
touch that, like,
They're not like active costs.
So if we actually want to maintain higher road usage, if we want to actually have sidewalks for our new developments as opposed to not having sidewalks for them, that does cost money.
Right.
And that is where impact fees can come in.
Okay, all right.
Or building out more water and sewer, if we see that as, or even just more capacity on existing lines.
right,
That could all be impact fees.
So I think when we're talking about impact fees in the future, we'll figure out a good way, and that was a great way to describe it, because I was like, I got the question, it's like, wait a minute, this says you guys tell us all day long it doesn't impact the taxpayer, and then on the next conversation, like, hey, we need to get impact fees.
So what the
And I didn't
impact,
have a good answer from him. I said, we'll
Yeah.
start talking.
Yeah.
I think just framing it a little differently
Uh-huh.
so that people know we're gathering those impact fees for this, not that.
right, it's not an operational thing, it's a,
Yeah, so we need to add a wing to the elementary school, or the water sewer needs to expand their
Well, that goes
capacity.
exactly to what they're saying, where houses don't cost more.
But it's not the operational cost, it's the infrastructure.
And it's also quality of life. Do you want your houses to be on crappy streets without sidewalks? Or do you want them to be in nice neighborhoods? And to build out a nice neighborhood costs more money than to just build housing in some random place. And to create those nice neighborhoods, you can have impact fees. Street
It's
lighting,
gonna cost the town
sidewalks.
more money.
yeah.
Right.
It's either going to cost the town more money, or in some like sidewalks, for instance, you just might not, as a town, do it.
Might not have them.
Right? You
Yeah.
just might not have them,
But
and
it might
then
be
you
nice to have them.
create a lesser opportunity for a nice neighborhood.
And that's why I mentioned it here, because we're talking, include sidewalk expansions. And that's why I just mentioned impact fees, because if we're gonna do that, I think we should. And I think we should have impact fees to cover that, so it's not just raising our taxes, but actually being put on the developers.
Yeah. And I think you made a good point with like gaining that revenue through the fee, but also not discouraging, like that
There's a
balance,
balance.
also discouraging
That's right.
development.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We also have, I mean, The other way is to like require when you're building something that you build a section of sidewalk or whatever.
Right.
But then you end up with, I think it's Laconia that has
Piecemeal,
issues
like.
where there's
yeah.
like sections of sidewalk that
Oh, yeah, we talked.
Classic.
It's really crazy.
like 2 or 3 houses have sidewalks in front of them, but they don't go anywhere.
And then you still have to plow them because.
It's awful.
Correct, yeah, and then you've got an operational cost that you create
Impact
that's
fee is the
not
better
actually
way to go
meaningful.
than
Yeah,
that. I've seen those, it's just crazy, like,
crazy.
Because they can, yeah, killer for rollerbladers.
So the next
Sidewalk
one,
to nowhere.
are you suggesting, I hope, that we eliminate all parking minimums on residential uses?
yeah,
I mean, most developers are gonna do it anyway because.
they're gonna build what they think
Yeah.
people are, they wanna sell or they wanna rent, they're gonna build the parking they think
And
they
it's their
need.
choice. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you see a lot of larger developments get hung up over parking spaces.
Oh my gosh.
1.45 or 1.4.
Crazy.
And now we're in court,
Right.
you know, for 2 years. Yeah.
And it's interesting that you're proposing
Maximums.
maximum,
That's right, for
Which-
commercial, yeah.
because there are some, I can think of a couple properties on Pleasant Street that are student housing, that it's basically the entire yard is pavement.
And that also might go over their impervious surface limit in
Right.
some cases.
Fascinating. Okay. How are we currently using? It's a good question for Zach. It says consider establishing a dedicated community parking fund using fees collected from parking meters. We collect fees. How do we?
And our parking is now profitable rather than a cost center.
Oh wow!
Yay.
Wow.
Wow. How do
But
we?
we-
Okay, so we have to figure out how to use them.
So we use those funds to offset the cost of police.
Okay.
Is effectively what we do today.
Goes to the general fund, is that
Goes to
correct?
the general fund and we
Yep.
consider it an offset to the police cost.
I think there's a broader
There is a
parking.
specific segment of the budget for parking that has revenue and the revenues exceed the cost of the parking
good.
segment of the
That's
budget.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah. When we changed our meters over to the new meter
Park Mobile or
system,
whatever.
Yeah.
Park Mobile,
Yep.
we changed the whole dynamics of parking.
Sure, that makes sense.
And I think there's a broader conversation that's
What
not just
everybody's learning.
residential, but commercial, that might go in the economic development section.
Say that again.
I think there's a broader conversation about parking,
Yeah.
which might go in the economic development section.
Sure,
As opposed
absolutely.
to just a residential parking
Yeah,
section.
absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
I will say that having a specific fund and using those fees and putting those fees in that fund does create different budgetary pressures.
Sure.
Right, by saying we can only use these funds for this purpose or this sort of
Sure.
thing.
And is it really, I think,
I don't know what it improves. I don't know what
John's
we're
point.
encouraging by doing that necessarily.
is this really belong in residential? I think that's what John was saying, was that what you were saying,
Oh,
John?
I mean, it impacts residential development as well as commercial development. I mean, we could like parking lot that somewhere for a while, but the parking lot.
Wow.
Have to do
So,
with
I
pun
mean, I think the
intended.
principle
And,
is,
and included in the economic development section eventually, but.
Mm.
I mean, I just think the principle is, whatever the thing is that's generating the revenue, ought to have that revenue reinvested,
Into that.
yeah.
Yep. I agree with that. I think a lot of that sentiment is shared throughout the town, and not necessarily in Plymouth, but maybe other communities when someone says, oh, we, you know, department generated this much revenue, is, well, that's great, it's going back into your earnings. Oh, no, that goes in the general fund, we don't see that. So for the extra hard work to be able to divert that back purposely is, I think,
It's an interesting.
well worth thing.
It's an interesting question. Yeah.
I have a question about the next one. Encourage residential uses above the first floor in the downtown and continue to prohibit residential uses on the street level. We're starting to have more and more conversations about development beyond Main Street downtown
Yeah.
that might not want to be developed that way. So that might be only on Main Street? Maybe, I don't know how anybody feels about that. But if that's only on Main Street as opposed to all of like Village Commercial downtown.
I get it, I understand what you're saying.
You thinking like the Railroad Square area?
Railroad Square area, or even going north potentially, who knows, whether like
Main
people
Street
could,
to the town line.
people, there's various places where people could develop, and you might not want to put the onus on them to have commercial on the first
Right,
floor if they're off of
right.
Main Street.
If you're off of Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where does Main Street end technically?
On Main Street.
Technically, then we're at the town line.
Yeah. Oh, no, no, but like,
Like the address is up there, or Main Street still, like up past the PD.
Yeah.
no, I was just assuming the village commercial.
Village
Oh,
commercial
okay,
portion
okay,
of Main
okay,
Street.
within
Yeah,
that. All right.
See, because I was like, well, Route 3 keeps going.
No,
Is
I
it
mean,
Main
I
Street?
No, I meant like.
Well, because I
Main
think
Street
it is
and
in the
then
village commercial district.
Versus other streets in our downtown village commercial, which might not necessarily mandate commercial
Commercial on the first floor. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with Main Street in the village commercial requiring commercial on street level, but not outside of that. I don't think it's necessarily that helpful, actually.
Yep, I agree, yeah.
I think some of the stuff down on Railroad Square is residential on the first level.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, yeah, that's,
Parking garage.
Or parking garage, yeah.
Our shining stars of residential development. No,
Okay.
I didn't say that.
So any other big questions jumping out at anybody right now? Let's see.
I just wanted to give a check plus to DOT's Complete Streets program, which we're actually talking very recently about incorporating into our subdivision regulations as well. Although Phil didn't want to call it Complete Streets, even though the state is calling it Complete Streets.
Everybody's calling it complete streets.
But whatever we call it,
it's
I would say
missing.
Complete Streets. We're actually talking about that right now, of incorporating that into our subdivision regulations.
What does it mean to leverage the DOT's Complete Streets program? Because I went to look for the policy and it didn't have anything that seemed like,
They have someone there pushing it right now for like the first time ever.
I just didn't see, I wasn't understanding what we can do to lever anything within that program.
I would assume if the town is investing at all in complete streets types of improvements, that becomes a leverage, a source of leverage, because the state is sort of seeing the community as being invested in those types of improvements.
My understanding is
Sorry, for someone who's new to this conversation, what is complete streets?
John, you want to take that one?
We actually also have
Streets-
not talked about it on the planning board either.
Oh, okay.
No, we did. We talked about it
mentioned
with our.
You may not have been there.
With
Like
site
3
site
meetings
subdivision
ago?
regulations.
My apologies.
Use my ignorance, though, it's fine.
Streets that are friendly to all sorts of different mobility, including pedestrians and bicycles and cars and anything else you can get by there.
Any sort of movement is accommodated within the street.
sidewalks,
Okay.
bike
Okay.
lanes.
The street is not just for cars.
Does that give us some leverage to like get the state to put sidewalks on Tenny Mountain Highway, for example?
This is what I'm wondering.
Good.
It could, so, and also interestingly, like, apparently, like, when I was talking to Scott, I think you had this conversation as well. I was saying, like, when we did all this, like, construction downtown, why didn't we put, like, bulb outs and other, like, nice stuff down there? And apparently the answer was DOT said, hell no.
Interesting.
This is an issue. This is an issue. You're not alone. Yep.
And, but it seems like they've got someone there now who gave a presentation at the annual
Yeah.
OPD conference who was totally gung-ho about Complete
Right.
Streets.
Right,
And hopefully he stays there.
It
And
has the funding behind him, or her.
right.
Funding's always the issue.
But I bet even changing the conversation, I think, is a huge deal at DOT in New Hampshire.
Great.
To actually have someone there saying, yes, I want this, as opposed to, no, that's gonna slow cars down, too bad.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I think we want to slow cars down.
You think?
I mean, maybe not on 93, but, you know.
Okay, so I had questions. Develop an outreach and education program. This is under sustainable housing. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yep, I see it.
6. Develop an outreach and education program on the current use program in New Hampshire.
I had question marks there.
And the implications of this program for property owners. I'm
Okay.
not really sure who is responsible for that.
Can I also say current use is capitalized in one of them and not in the other? To be nitpicky.
I'm wondering where does this?
Do we really need to encourage people to know about this? I think people who want to know about this are totally availing themselves of this and using it to the maximum amount possible.
I'm wondering where that connects to the sustainable housing chapter, I guess.
Because, oh, you mean in the actual, like, written narrative?
Yeah, in the
part of
written
that?
narrative, I,
There
cause I
is a
don't,
map that shows all the current use
Yeah.
land in town
Right.
uh-huh,
in that chapter.
I mean, and it does serve to encourage the
conservation.
conservation of that land.
Right,
that's what
the whole point is.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much we need to really encourage it, but I'm not against it either, I guess.
Wow, it's a lot.
Um,
That's,
You know, it's
I-
about
It might trigger some people to
78%
say
of
that
the-
because they see it as a loss of tax
Exactly.
revenue,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean,
but it's gonna happen anyway.
we complain about the nonprofits, but not about the current use.
Right.
I said that 3
Fairly-
years ago.
It's a fairly strange
did.
bit of mental
Yep.
gymnastics we like to do.
Okay, yeah. The map is illustrative.
Mm.
On page 42.
And I think I've mentioned this before, incorporate more low-impact stormwater management techniques into site plan regulations. LRPC is currently working with several towns to create guidance and will, within the next year, they've got a grant for this, hopefully publish a model ordinance and work with communities to adopt it to their towns.
Wow,
Um,
that's pretty good.
So,
Do we need to reference that in here?
we can say like, work with LRPC on this or something, since they're already working on that.
Okay.
So I just have a question or curiosity. So continue to enforce 67441 to limit development on class 6 and private roads.
Oh, yeah.
Until they are brought up to town specifications. With the new state law that requires us to allow building on class 6 roads as long as they filed the waiver, do towns still have the authority to require people to upgrade class 6 roads to build on them?
Would be nice.
I'm not sure if we do or not. I
Yeah, I'm not sure we do
They
either.
seem almost like if they're in conflict, because
Yeah.
the waiver of the requirement of, to basically make it a matter of right seems to conflict with 67441. Because, it does allow for the development.
Yeah, I think that's the question, yeah. And I think it might be nice, aspirationally, but I'm not sure we can actually do that.
Maybe we should take it out. I have my own opinion about this, but
Which
it's not
number
my
is that?
town.
oh, but
No, I mean,
class
it's
6
in terms
roads.
of state
Yeah.
law, I'm not sure, are there ways of still encouraging that within current state law?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I guess though development, if we mean subdivision specifically,
Right.
I think we could still require it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
that's
As
true.
opposed to just building a
That's true,
existing.
yeah, yeah,
all right. Let me maybe clarify that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
think that's a good distinction.
Good point.
Yep.
Okay, so, I'm still on page 48, and I'm realizing that there might be an element of responsibility on the Conservation Commission here. On the last two on page 48, consider developing educational materials about
Yep.
DES wetlands. I think Concom is
Yep.
part of that. And then also outreach and educate residents on the New Hampshire Saves. That also seems like Energy Commission, if they're not already doing that,
Okay.
potentially.
yeah. Good point.
Okay,
Or even just the town could, through various newsletters that the town
so
manager sends
town
out.
manager, town
Yeah.
staff, yep. Okay,
It's another one of these awareness things that just letting people know about these programs.
communication is always challenging, it seems. All right, I know we didn't go through every little bit, but I feel like that was a pretty thorough
Yeah.
comb through, and I think we gave Judy plenty of stuff to work on, and,
And I will also just say, that all of our comments from the previous round on the earlier parts of this,
yeah,
I think they were very well integrated, thank you.
great. And, Yeah, I mean, I think it would be ideal to have an editable, I mean, you said you're gonna give us an editable. Because I do think that what John said about revisiting and revising again, especially when we have a town manager, maybe we can form some sort of smaller group that really nails down.
I mean, and there might be little, like, things that need to be tweaked anyway as we integrate it with all the new chapters and.
Yep,
So we would always give you an editable document,
Yeah.
even if we took this into Adobe InDesign. We would
Yeah.
still give you the Word document,
Mhm.
okay.
just because people use it for grant applications or whatever,
So
and
you
you just
were-
need the text.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you a software question, but it's fine. Do you use it in design or just Word? Or,
So I'm an InDesign freak,
okay,
but.
Of course you
but
are.
we would, for this to be editable to people, we would give it to you as Word.
that makes sense, okay. Yep. Okay, great. Any other further comments, if I can speak? You driving home tonight?
No, we are staying here.
Good.
My husband is in a hotel room with 4 dogs right now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Lucky him.
That's why I went and got my phone. Wanted to make sure he was still alive.
Good. Well, thank you for all your work and for your time. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Mm.
I'm happy. I was determined to get up here tonight. I wanted to meet with you guys. I'm just sorry I was
Much
late. It was
appreciated.
harder to get up here than I
Oh,
thought.
I can imagine the traffic was awful.
Really bad.
Traffic up to like Concord was really tough.
Yeah,
And then it was fine, but
that's good.
yeah.
Okay.
You guys have plans for the weekend?
Nothing big.
I'm going to the Cape
Oh.
Oh, my God.
on Sunday.
Oh, my God. You're
Wish-
going in the wrong direction.
Wish me luck.
Believe
So-
now.
Sunday to the Cape shouldn't be too bad.
I thought so. It was a strategic choice. I work on most weekends anyways, so it's not, I'm the opposite. All right.
So I'll do some editing to this and get it back to you within 2 weeks.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Fast.
Thank you.
Great seeing you, Judy.
Good to see
Yeah.
you as well.
Thanks for making the
All
time.
I
right.
miss you guys. This is terrible. I'm so
You're never
sad.
coming back, Judy?
Huh?
You're never gonna come back.
No, I'll come back.
You're always welcome back.
Yeah, you're always welcome back.
We've been working together for so long. Thank you all, really.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you, Judy.
I always tell people, like, I have a few towns that I consider sort of my pets, my favorite ones.
Oh, is that us?
And you are one of those.
Us and Nantucket?
Don't stop.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
It's just a great town. I hope you're all happy living here. I really mean that. It's
I am,
just
yeah.
a lovely town.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's really important to hear. Thank you.
All right, folks.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I'll be in
You
touch.
do. Thank you.
Okay, so agenda item 8, unfinished and other business. So we have, I was definitely ambitious when I set this agenda, and I realized that, especially because this, I probably should have anticipated this being a very thorough discussion. So I do think we need to touch base about the RFP for the master plan. I'm not sure how we feel about subdivision regulations. I'm not feeling very ambitious about it, to be honest, in this particular moment at 8:30 p.m.
Probably
Second
fine.
that.
So,
Air conditioning in here, though.
there, it is air conditioned. That's great. So we can see if there's room to come back to subdivision in a month.
Okay.
I think it's necessary.
So I can give an RFP update.
Okay,
So Todd provided a draft
great.
about a week ago, or a little less maybe, somewhere around there.
Last Friday.
And I've started to look at it, and I do have a couple of questions, not necessarily for you, but for everyone. And I mentioned this with Joseph, I guess, yesterday. So I'm gonna guess, if all goes well, by early next week, I'm gonna have like a next draft, and then maybe I can, I don't know, share it out with who, maybe back to you and just Joseph again, and maybe you as well as chair.
Okay, yep.
And then we can take a look at that, if that sounds fine with the rest of the board, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
trying to remember what kind of timeline we discussed last meeting.
So my one real question was about chapters. And last we talked, and I think I was a proponent of this as well, we talked about the old plan of having a downtown master plan chapter. We said, no, we can just incorporate that into economic development. And then I was looking at Judy's or our planning group's recommendations, and again, it says in there, we should have a downtown master plan.
Interesting, yeah.
And I was thinking about it in light as well of the fact that we just had a charrette. That we should really kind of think long and hard about once we get the report, and how we're going to incorporate that into our master planning, which goes beyond economic development.
Yeah,
And this is the core of our community
Yeah.
in terms of our identity. I mean, there's like the agricultural like identity, there's the university identity, but in terms of like people coming to Plymouth, like what they see often is the downtown, unless you're just dropping into like Market Basket or something.
right.
And with the charrette having just happened, and a lot of conversations about downtown, and it being so core to like our prosperity and long-term identity, I think it does warrant its own. I think what the state calls it like neighborhood chapter or whatever. I think I'm back there again,
Okay.
and I just want to see how everybody else feels about that.
I think it's a good idea.
I think your point about the charrette has given us
A lot to chew on.
a lot to chew on, and we don't even have the report yet, so, yeah, I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to add that as a back into the
Okay.
game again.
Separated outside of the economic development
yeah.
section.
I think it's worth doing that.
Do we have what about a separate section for Tenny Mountain?
We do not, and
We were gonna fold that into the
I
economic
think
development
that goes
section.
in economic development, and I think that's okay. And it might be touched upon in natural resources as well, and land use sort of issues. And I say that because it's not really our job to come up with a master plan, it's their job to come up with a master plan. And it's our job to write the zoning ordinance that allows them to do that.
Yeah,
So I think
plus-
it's in their court at this point.
Right, exactly,
the
that
development
they
court.
need to come back to us with
What they think the master
what they
plan is.
want to do.
Yeah.
And that could be very ambitious, it could be a 20-year plan.
Yeah. So I think it's okay to have that scaled back. We made the big zoning changes for it. And I think that was our planning part of this. And at this point, I think it's like seeing what they propose. They
Okay, I see
being
what you're saying.
either
I was lost for a
the
second.
current owners of the resort or anybody else in that overlay. Yeah, with that. So the master planning part, I think, is a little bit out of our hands at this point. I had a question though.
They have a previous master plan,
On the
too.
maps, I think it was in the housing master plan, the overlay district does not overlay with the town boundaries.
Correct, it does not
Wait.
align with the town boundaries that
Wait,
they're
where?
used in this map. So it does align with the town boundaries as per the tax map. So the definition of it includes all of that land. So if it's in town and it's west of that line, it's in there. So
Help me
it's,
understand.
so there are multiple GIS files floating around out there in the ether for Plymouth's boundaries, and they do not all project on top of each other the same.
Lovely.
Yeah, but I went based on our the map that the layer that was placed on top of Barrett's boundaries is the one that we developed based on the tax map boundaries, which are somewhat different from
Oh.
the boundary file you get at the statewide GIS clearinghouse, which is the Granite GIS database. So you're
Hard to bring that
correct.
up here.
No,
It just came to mind. I was like, what just
Definitionally-
happened there?
Definitionally, it aligns perfectly with the town boundary.
Okay.
Because the way that it was written was all lands in Plymouth west of this line, 300 feet
That's what
east.
matters more than the map.
The map is illustrative of
Yeah.
that, but the text is really what has legal weight. And but I agree. I mean, it is a weird
Having this
thing.
map out there, like in public, it's gonna make some heads hurt.
Maybe we make a note of that as well.
Yeah. Please follow up with Judy about fixing this map.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My head hurt.
Yeah, makes sense. It's
All right. So we will maybe look forward to the whole board seeing the draft RFP in a month.
Sure.
Great. Let me just write that down.
And if we're gonna have a preliminary discussion of potential zoning amendments, including short-term rentals,
Yep,
as a few of you know, just under a quorum of you,
yep.
I sent out a survey, and I have copies of it for everyone if you want. And I made a couple of minor tweaks before I printed it out. Maybe it would only be one minor tweak based on a recommendation from Joseph about the wording of one bullet point, which would actually be a checkbox in the survey. I'm gonna just like pass these around
Yeah.
and
let's do
see
it.
what you think. I know a couple of you have seen this already. So I sent it to you because we were having that conversation about.
Right, oh, I thought you sent it to the whole board, no?
No, just you and me.
And then I
Oh,
sent
okay.
it to you as chair, which gets it to 3, which is 1 under a quorum, so we were good.
Well, I didn't respond.
That's fine.
Because I was concerned about quorum issues.
I only sent it to 3 of us,
Not- it was
plus
not a
Joseph. So, yeah.
Not a quorum.
And I did say don't add anybody else to the email or forward to anyone.
Which did not.
What was the tweak that you made?
So the tweak I made is, short-term rentals should be allowed only after the property owner has completed an application and a public hearing has been held on the application. I didn't list what border it would be or.
Okay.
Who did this go out to? How did this get sent out?
This
Okay,
has been
so-
sent out to nobody yet.
This is a,
Oh,
this
this
is
is the-
a
review-
draft.
This is a draft for review
How will we be sending this out, do you think? Or
via some kind of like Google survey, Survey
Okay,
Monkey, whatever
yeah.
we want to
Like
use.
electronically and,
Yeah.
yep, oh, okay.
We could probably
Do a few paper copies?
do some paper copies at town hall. I think that would be.
I do have some survey logic things, but we can just put them, if yes, then do this.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
past, when we've done primarily digital surveys, we've usually kept a stack at town hall if people wanted to fill them out
Sure.
with a paper and pen.
So basically, I tried to give a little bit of background on why we're even asking this question,
Mm-hmm.
tried to ask a couple of softball questions, and then get to the questions that really get to the meat of the matter of like
Yeah.
what we actually want to do.
Yeah, my comment actually is, you've already addressed, and that's that instead of specifically naming the planning board, that we leave it open
Yeah.
As
as to,
to who would look
And
at an
who would look at it,
application,
yeah.
if that's what people
We can
want.
decide that, yeah.
yeah. But that was my only comment.
Okay.
Other than that, it looks great.
If you haven't looked at it yet, take a minute to read it. I'm gonna write some notes down so that we don't just rush into it without getting more feedback.
I mean, this way, if we can get this like approved soon, we can get it out to everybody and
Yeah.
actually have time for zoning amendments and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff.
Yep.
The,
So we'll take time to
And
read.
I left the
it.
date blank because it would be nice on the survey for people taking this, if they want to follow up at a public hearing, or not a public hearing, but a meeting, a public meeting, that they actually have a date when we're going to start talking about this. So you can say, oh, I'm going to join this conversation.
can I throw out one more
Yeah.
thing, John? And I want to be mindful that we don't complicate this, so maybe
No.
we don't add this, but I do think that if we're gonna have some regulations, that there should be some type of inspections, life safety inspections. Do we want to ask that as part of the question, or do we just, that's something that we should just,
Yeah, I mean, my original wording of the one that we changed did have something about permitting, which could include inspections for permitting. So I'm not sure if we want to put application and permitting or something, and put that back in there, which could include inspections with the permitting.
yeah, but again, I don't want to put too much into
I
this.
don't think we need to put too much into it, because we can have that conversation at this end.
Right.
This is more to get a general sense of where people
Yeah,
fall
so
in the
maybe
community.
we leave that out then,
Yeah.
and just
we
keep
can
it
work
simple.
And we can work out the details once we know how people generally feel. So it's not like we're asking people to like write the zoning ordinance here.
Yeah, we're just looking
Just to
for,
get a
what are your thoughts
ballpark,
on it?
like, sense of, yeah.
And then would this go out, say, part of the town manager's newsletter, or is?
It certainly
one
could
way
go
to-
out into the
Yeah,
newsletter.
that among other ways perhaps.
Yeah.
That would be the first thing that would
Yeah.
come to my mind of what would make sense.
That's the most immediate way we can do it. We could also post it on the website.
Yep.
And then,
We can put QR codes to it and put them in a couple of choice places.
like,
I got a
Was on
flyer.
board at the transfer station.
Yeah, like a
Oh, yeah, I
flyer
was
with a
gonna
QR
say,
code.
I think Mary Ann was up the transfer station, with this,
the charrette survey.
with the Charette survey.
Yeah.
And there's also Mary Ann's
asking
window.
People, yeah.
You can ask her.
So someone needs to make a flyer. Joseph?
Oh, Joseph does the best ones.
I mean, I made the flyers for the charrette stuff,
They're
so
very different than Joseph.
they were very different than Joseph's. No offense to Joseph.
I'm not offended.
Okay. All right. So we could make a flyer. I mean, I think it's a great version of a survey. I don't have any like giant notes, and I think that it would be really great to get this out kind of ASAP
I agree.
and start collecting. People, I'm sure, are going to be like another survey, but it's
They should be
I don't know,
happy. we're
really
asking
really
them
necessary.
questions.
I want to know.
It's not very long. I think people
It's
will
not very
like
long.
filling it out.
No, I was trying to keep it like succinct.
So, how long do we want to try to collect responses?
Well, let's say if this is a work session tonight.
Yep.
If we can agree to it tonight, we can get it out like, well, it's holiday weekend.
Yeah.
But like next week. Leave it open till a few days before our next work session.
Yeah, because I
And then
think
we can actually discuss it at our work session, and that's the date we can put down here. Like, we'll have our first discussion of this, like, on that date.
the
like, our next work
timing,
session.
the timing is I think a delicate and important part of it because you don't want to have too much time and then have people forget they even took a survey.
Right. And if they didn't do it, they can still come to our meetings and talk
Absolutely.
Well, let them know only 100 spots.
about it.
Like, get in there, take the survey quickly.
We're only taking so many responses. Okay, so
Maybe that.
that would be bad. That would be really bad.
drives them-
So, so for the August work meeting, we do need to try to look at subdivision again. I don't want to just leave that to rot. Sorry to say it that way. We're going to look at the master plan RFP. We were going to talk about the natural resources inventory with the Conservation Commission as well. So, but I think we should prioritize the short-term rental, like basically a, I don't know, public community meeting or public hearing. I don't know, what would you call it?
Not a public hearing, but.
Definitely not a public hearing,
And,
But could be seeking community input.
community input.
and we could do that at a standard planning board meeting as opposed to like a special, like, thing at the Bobcat Cafe or something.
What? Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
we don't
Okay.
need to, we don't need to do that.
No, we can just do it during the meeting, for sure.
Do we know what the NRI presentation is going to look like? Is it going to be like, we all just look at it and talk about it? Are they going to give us a little presentation about it? Do we know?
We don't know yet. They were originally targeting tonight, and they said that it's not ready, so they need it until next meeting. But I'm not sure. I'm sure we can reach out to them and try to get more.
Yeah, I can try to talk to them before I set an agenda for next month, to try to get an idea of what they're going for, and I don't mind setting time limits on that kind of thing, especially if we want to have our community meeting, let's call it, for short-term rentals at the top of the meeting. I think that would be wise.
I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with setting an expectation of this is the.
We have
time.
half an hour. Okay,
Yeah.
And
great.
it'll be interesting. There might be no people there, or there might be like 100 people here.
Okay, great.
It could be like the chickens, like everybody's going to come out of the woodwork to talk about
The
chickens.
chickens. I wish I was here for that.
Do we have a lot on our agenda for our business meeting
Don't know anything about it.
coming up?
Just one continued application, the storage, commercial storage,
Right.
and then we have
So we
one
could-
relatively small
Could we
site plan.
touch on, could we work on the subdivision
Yeah, we could.
regulations?
I think
at-
that's a great
at
idea.
that meeting?
Yeah. Yes.
And also set a time limit on that.
Yeah. My just to tell you, the next section is the submission requirements section.
Okay.
And I think if we get through that one section in one meeting, that's impressive because that's when we talked about the tiered
Yep.
for the 3 different ones. So it's going to be a little,
Some good improvements.
yeah, but it's going to be a little, it's going to be very detail oriented, just like the rest of it. Okay, great.
Stupid question.
Yeah.
it's not really a stupid question, it's just a complicated question that planning staff is going to be upset with me for. Is it possible to have the application be a, like an online form, which might make it easier, and if you, depending on what you check, it can just send you to different places in terms of like what you need to fill out?
There are certainly software modules that do this, and many towns or cities have a planning board, zoning board, site plan, subdivision, often integrated with a building permit software where it does have these sort of workflows built
Yeah.
in. We haven't really explored it just due to the
Would that be a lot of
volume
money, or-
applications. They're usually, these softwares are pretty costly. We haven't
Yeah.
priced it out.
Okay, so it would be better if we're a bigger community with more money, and or
Usually
more
that's-
applications.
Usually that's where these tend to wind up, because you have, you submit your subdivision plan in this software and EnerGov and all
Okay.
kinds, blueprints. You can send the plan in, and you can somewhat identify, okay, this one's gonna go to planning, it's gonna go to building, it's gonna go to
Okay.
engineering, fire, and it's sort of a automated workflow through this software. So there certainly
It
are.
seems like a great solution in the 21st century.
Yeah,
If you have the budget.
But and the volume
Yeah,
to pay for it.
yeah.
yeah, okay.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely something that's out there. We could try to get some pricing on it. I'm not sure what it would be like for a town of our size. Usually it's a little costly, but
I'm just thinking it could be like a one-click stop then, and you just like, depending on what you click in the beginning, you just kind of get shuffled in, which is kind of nice.
And the
And,
other-
and streamlines it for people. But yeah, it sounds like we're not big enough probably to do that.
We also have to figure out, go ahead,
so
Joseph.
go ahead.
We also have to figure out what those
Well, of course we do.
lines would be.
Yeah. And the flip side of this for a town like Plymouth, we do tend to get some more informal site plans and
Oh, okay.
subdivisions. So when you have a lot of site plans that are like a site plan that Walmart has put together, that's really easy to integrate.
Yeah.
But when you have something that's a little more homemade, maybe there's some waivers, it's a little more, which
Yeah.
we tend to see some from some of our small businesses.
Yeah.
That can be a little harder to slot into these workflows.
Although I will say the one time in the past like 5 years or more, whatever it's been, that we got like application drawing on a napkin and we said, sure, they're small, like what the hell? They ended up blowing all their like setbacks and stuff. You remember?
True. I recall, yeah. No, it was the sewer line issue.
Oh, it was a sewer line?
If we're
It wasn't
thinking of the
it
same
wasn't-
project.
It wasn't
It doesn't-
setbacks as well?
No,
think-
not setbacks, just the
Okay.
sewer.
I think there's a medium.
Collection.
I think there's a medium way between those two. Okay,
We do have an individual, I think, for the comments as well.
okay, and also, we didn't talk about state law.
Oh.
Can you comment on state law?
Yeah, I
quickly?
can quickly run through, just to give the board somewhat of an update. We've included the recent legislation in the packet. Just as we're going into zoning amendment season, it is, I think, good to be aware of these different bills, which have been signed into law that impact local zoning. And in particular, there are two bills that impact residential uses in commercial zones. That was a change that was actually made last year, but there were two additional changes that were made this year, essentially tweaking the law, or tweaking the language that was put in place by the law that was passed last year. So that is something to just be aware of. It puts some significant restrictions on what restrictions a town can put on residential development in commercial zones. It also gives a little bit of clarity about what kind of studies boards can do, planning boards can do for these types of uses. So the effect of those two laws is essentially to say towns, local planning boards, zoning ordinances only have the authority to regulate a few limited areas which are outlined in the RSA. Which I have. Anyway,
Are we
it's,
looking at House bill or Senate bill?
so we're looking at 1010, HB 1010,
Okay, thank you.
and we're also looking at 1588. So I'm skipping around a little
Yes,
bit,
that's fine.
apologies, because those two go together, really.
Yep.
So it essentially says the only things that towns are allowed to impose. The only restrictions towns are allowed to impose on multifamily in commercial zones are frontage, setback, and height requirements, provided they're the same as those for commercial developments. And then it also says multifamily dwelling units must be allowed as a matter of right, which was kind of already the case from last year. And then there's the further clarification from 1010, which says, in making sure that there's adequate infrastructure, in addition to those 3 areas you can regulate, you can also require a traffic study to ensure adequate road infrastructure, water connection approval from a public water supply, and permission from the operator of the sewer system. So you can require essentially those 3 types of documentation or studies to support that the project won't be an undue burden on infrastructure. There's HB 1079, which makes some slight tweaks to how accessory dwelling units are permitted in existing structures, even if they're non-conforming. That was already somewhat provided for in the law last year, but this is kind of expanding that language. Basically, it clarifies what counts under the law as a pre-existing non-conforming structure, which I think in the past the language was just kind of general in the state law, which I think we had interpreted probably accurately when we made our change, but now this gives a lot more guidance about what counts as an existing non-conforming structure. And then the last one, well, no, the second to last one is HB 1195, which deals with childcare facilities. I think we're mostly compliant with it. We may need to take a slight look at how we talk about home occupations. We do allow for home-based childcare as a home occupation. It may behoove us to just take some of this language directly from the law because there are specific categories of childcare under the state's sort of licensing regime that we have to allow as home occupations. And it might behoove us to say something in our home occupation section where currently we say home-based childcare is allowed, to really use the exact language out of the statute, just to make sure it's quite clear that this is what we're talking about. And then the last one is SB 564, which talks about two distinct things that towns are no longer allowed to regulate. The first one is that towns are not allowed to place restrictions on road length, or caps on the number of lots on dead-end streets. And then it also prevents towns from restricting the placement of utilities in open space buffers, for example, in an open space residential development. So towns have to allow utilities in those open space areas and have to allow for longer, or have to not have a limit on the length of dead-end streets beyond what is in fire code.
Does that affect the proposed development from Habitat?
It could.
Yes.
It could.
It kind of depends on how we end up changing our
Right.
regulations.
It would
So,
still be nice for them to provide connectivity.
right.
Sure, and I think
Right.
they actually want to do that.
Yeah.
The question, I think they were feeling limited in what they were able to do with the low road length
Yeah.
restriction without having that connectivity piece.
We could still require multiple entrances.
Right, and that is a different question,
Exits.
because this,
That
and
doesn't come under the dead end component?
so there's a couple
Well,
of
that's what I
different
was wondering.
pieces to this that I think we will probably want to talk about when we're looking through our road standards and subdivision regulations. Right now, our restriction on access, essentially, number of access points is essentially, we say you can generally not have a dead-end street more than 1,000 feet in length. There are other ways that you can regulate how many points of access exist to a subdivision without capping dead-end streets specifically. Some towns regulate how many access points you need based on how many lots you have. It doesn't say
Length
how
of
long your
road.
dead-end streets can be, but it can say if you have a 40-lot subdivision, you need 2 access points out of an existing
Okay.
street. But you may not say, within that subdivision, your dead-end streets are less than 1,000 feet. So
That one seems like a close call.
It's a close call.
Does that need to go
So
past
to me
town
too.
council?
it would be any changes
Well,
to
any-
subdivision
yeah,
regulations
yeah.
need to be reviewed by
Of course,
town
but
council.
I mean, that one seems like maybe especially so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it depends on how the board also feels about some of these goals, competing goals of, allowing for streets to be built for, easier development versus ensuring that there are multiple ways to get in and out of a new road.
It's a safety question at a certain point too, right? It's not just like, oh, it'd be
I mean,
nice
if
if
you're-
our streets are connected.
If you're saying you need multiple ways out, aren't you inherently saying you're not allowed to build dead-end roads
I would not interpret it that
for
way
a certain number of,
myself.
for a certain number of lots?
Yeah, I would say a dead
You're
end.
not regulating the length of a dead-end
You
road.
could have
We're
two.
regulating how many houses we're allowing on a dead-end road.
You are.
Well, you're,
Right.
Sounds
depends
like the
Lots.
law, right?
depends on how
This
you're.
is why I think it would
yeah.
need to go through council.
It needs more
It
discussion
would be complicated.
when we're
Well, but
talking
if
about
it's,
road
if it's
standards.
in law now, it feels like even with, I mean,
It
obviously.
goes
we
into
would-
effect in April of '27.
Oh, April of 27,
Yeah.
it's not a July 1?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
correct.
Okay.
But
That's, we have more time then.
yeah. And I think it's
talk
just
about it.
one that is worth discussing as we get
Yeah.
to the road standards and the
Yeah.
subdivision regulations, because there are a lot of considerations to it.
For sure.
It's a big subdivision year. It's been,
Yeah.
And also impactful
Lot.
for us potentially, but not for our zoning amendments, is the charter school change.
Also
For
true.
clarification, it probably was true before, but it's clarified now.
Yeah, there were basically a split in interpretation on how to handle that question of whether, what you're referring
Oh,
to is
shoot.
that there was a change to state law that specifically states that charter schools are exempt from local land use regulation under the governmental use of land statute. In the past, there was a split in terms of different interpretations of this. Some places were interpreting that they were not because they're not explicitly listed in the statute. Some were interpreting that they are because they should be fit under the sort of public
They are
school.
public schools.
Right, so those were the two kind of competing interpretations, and now the state has explicitly added charter schools to the list of exempt governmental entities.
okay. Thank you, Joseph, so much for that. So we will address those. Yes, Avery? No? Okay.
No, I'm just doing
Okay,
this.
sorry, you looked so attentive for a moment. Okay, so item number 9, public comments. Any public comments? No?
We do
Anyone
have-
online?
Yep,
Well, yeah.
Hello, thank you for your patience.
Oh. Well, you guys have had quite a night. My name's Gary LeMay. I'm the Director of Facilities at the New Hampshire Co-op. And we have a application before you for a site plan review for a small project we're doing there. And not knowing how much work you already did tonight, I just thought you might want to chat about it for a minute.
Okay,
Essentially, and I won't take any more time, we are putting in we'd like to put in like a 30 by 76, 77 concrete slab with some racking on it where we would store wire reels, transformers, etc. Something we have there already. The big difference is that we'd like to put a roof over it, keep the snow and water off of the equipment, just make sure, better use of us to be able to move it around, but in reality, the wire reels that we use sometimes have to stay around for many years so that we have adequate replacement parts for failures, wire that's been in a long time, and out in the elements that tend to get hunky and rot, and then you can't take the wire off. So we just turned a storage rack, project, and the storage rack people can put a roof over it. We're talking about doing this in an area that's already pavement. We're talking about
not increasing any impervious surfaces, not changing any runoff. And essentially, because we went over 1,000 square feet with this project, we had to come to, we'll see you guys, I think on July 16th is the schedule that I have right now. So again, just thought I'd bring this up, and if there's any comments initially or questions, I'm here to answer them. If not, we'll see you on the 16th.
Hopefully that's pretty straightforward, and
yeah. And I apologize, I realized that I accidentally skipped public comments at the beginning, so if that was when you were supposed to speak, I apologize. That was just an oversight on my part. So thank you for your
Don't
patience.
apologize. I was getting set up. We have quite an outage going over here in Meredith, and so I was dealing with some issues with that at
Okay.
our facilities at the time, and so I was about 3 minutes late. So no problem on my part.
Okay, great.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, I have no questions.
All right.
I have none.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
I don't see
Lemay.
anything on it yet. I don't know when you'll get it, but thank you, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
All right,
Have a
sounds good.
report.
Thank
You
you
too.
too.
Okay. Yep, thanks. Good night.
All right. No other public comments, looks like. Graham, no? All right. I'd entertain a motion.
Would you?
I would, indeed. Especially from
Motion to
Zach.
adjourn.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstentions. That was 2 nays. 4 ayes.
Actually got a little close there.